Dixie. Two teams take to a diamond battlefield. And with the first pitch, in this first game, they begin their fight for a World Series playing right. While it was so easy to believe the Braves belonged, the powerful pride of these Padres was simply ignored. But Kevin Brown would open the nation's eyes, and the bat of Jim Leyritz would again deliver like it did in October's past. The Padre dream would not be denied. Again, the beautiful pitching precision of the Braves would place the baseball world in awe. And now John Smoltz stands tall, ready to deliver. Is there such a thing as fate? In the real world, one is left to wonder. Next, another campaign in this war begins, and the baseball battle cry will be heard across America. It's the National League Championship Series on Fox. It's the Xerox National League Championship pregame show, brought to you by the Document Company. Xerox, keep the conversation going, share the knowledge.
Well, they're not singing Take Me Out to the Ball Game in Atlanta. They're singing Rain, Rain, Go Away. Mother Nature has made her appearance for Game 1 of the National League Championship Series with a vengeance. A heavy downpour falling on Turner Field in Atlanta, where we hope to have Game 1 of the NLCS between the upstart San Diego Padres and the powerful Atlanta Braves. You see the weather picture. It does not look very good. A strong band of thunderstorms is moving to the east very slowly. Very heavy rain expected throughout the evening here in Atlanta, but we are hoping to get the ball game in about an hour and a half or so if the weatherman and Mother Nature will cooperate. It's Game 1 of the NLCS between the Atlanta Braves and the San Diego Padres. Hello again, everybody. I'm Chip Carey. Welcome to the Xerox National League Championship Series pre-game show. As always, I'm joined by my partner, Steve Psycho Lyons. It's very wet. It's very soggy. On a night like tonight, you sure wish Howie Long from Fox NFL Sunday was here to hold the umbrella.
Yeah, and not only that, forget about that. If we make it through this pregame show, we deserve to be on the All-Madden team.
I would be in favor of that, and I'd also be in favor of getting a favorable weather forecast. In fact, Joe Buck, who we hope will be calling tonight's Game 1 between the Padres and the Braves, is standing by with the man who holds the game's future in his hands, at least for the moment, National League President Leonard Coleman. Season in a situation like this, it's up to the ball club, the home team, as to when to start the game. Right now, because it's the playoffs, we're talking to the man who is in charge of this situation, Leonard Coleman. And since we're talking to the right guy, what's the latest you've heard about this weather?
Well, I think it's a front that's moving through, and we're hopeful to be able to get the game started somewhere around 9:30 to 9:45. And so if the weather pattern holds right now, that's our best projection.
Let's say it doesn't hold, and let's say we don't get it in around 9:30, 9:45. How long are you willing to wait to get this game in tonight?
Well, Joe, we're going to look at the weather pattern, and if we got a reasonable chance of getting this game in, we're going to make every possible attempt to do it.
And the obvious question: if you don't get it in tonight, what are the contingency plans for games in the future?
Well, we'll play tomorrow, and we have to play on Friday here in Atlanta. So we'll look at it, but we're going to make every attempt to get that game in this evening.
National League President Leonard Coleman, thanks for the information, and it's a pleasure sharing an umbrella with you.
It's a lot better than rain that's out there right now.
Absolutely. Let's send it back to Chip Carey. Chip? All right, Joe and Leonard, thank you very much. Send one of those umbrellas up here, by the way, before we continue. Nice suit.
Yeah, you know, it's the Xerox pregame show. I wanted to look just like you.
Yeah, well, I can understand that. Well, obviously, Psycho, if we do play this game, once this series gets underway, it is a series of great expectations. We are expecting the rain to stop. Braves fans expecting their team to get to yet another World Series. It would be the 5th since 1991. They are very spoiled down here in Atlanta, and maybe for the Padres, nobody expected this team to knock off Randy Johnson twice in a 4-game series, but that's what they've done. Now they try to play the role of the underdog again, knock off the mighty Braves, and advance to the World Series again.
Hey, you talk about the expectations, especially for this Braves team. It's not a sold-out house down here. That's because these fans are spoiled and broke. They've been doing this 7 straight years. They can't afford to go to every playoff game. But you know what? All the media has started talking about a business-like approach that the Braves have to these playoffs. They've done it 7 straight years. They're not as excited as they were back in 1991. But when you talk to Tommy Glavine, he says, why should we be? We're taking a more professional approach. We've done it a few times. We're proud of the way we act, and we're proud of that professionalism that we take into these playoffs.
Yeah, no question about it. Tom Glavine also said, hey, the key is to get invited to the dance. The Braves, hey, if they get to the dance and lose 5 straight times, that's one thing. it's much better than not getting to the dance at all. And certainly Atlanta would like to get back to the World Series and win their second in the decade of the 90s. Friends, we will have some rain delay programming. The start of this game will be delayed. We will be showing you the world's funniest with James Brown in just a few minutes. But if we do get underway, John Smoltz, Atlanta's postseason ace, will take the mound for the Atlanta Braves. And we asked John what will be his mindset as he goes into game one against the Padres.
When I go out there, it's no tomorrow. I don't worry about getting through the war of 36 starts or 35 starts. I just worry about that start. I'm not afraid to fail, and then everything's magnified, so everyone's more aggressive, and I'm an aggressive pitcher. So I really, that's the time of the year I enjoy myself.
These are not the type of guys you want to try to test things out against, you know. And so, you know, going in mechanically, you got to be sound because they're gonna nitpick on the outside corner. They're gonna change speeds on you. In order to hit these guys, you got to be mechanically sound. If you're not, if you're making mistakes, they're gonna take advantage of it.
We do expect a very low-scoring series. Padres have great pitching. Atlanta, as you know, has great pitching. And John Smoltz, the winningest postseason pitcher in Major League history. Cycle, what makes this guy so tough when the regular season ends?
Well, I'll tell you what, tremendous talent, number one. This guy has worked at his craft for a lot of years now, and sometimes he doesn't get the attention he deserves because he has to share it with Maddox and Glavine on this ball club also. But here's a guy who used to be a really hard guy to catch. He had trouble throwing his breaking ball for strikes. His changeup bounced a lot, and he was a tough guy if you were sitting behind the plate to try to call the game. That is done now. Much better control of all of his pitches. Still has an overpowering fastball, and when he throws his breaking stuff for strikes, he can be very, very difficult to hit.
Well, John Smoltz, certainly a cool customer, but still times like this are nervous times for not only the everyday players, but for the pitchers and, of course, the pitching coach. Leo Mazzoni, the man who rocks back and forth, always looks like he's nervous. He's cool as a cucumber standing by with Joe Buck. All right, Chip. Well, Leo Mazzoni, pitching coach for the Atlanta Braves. We are obviously in a rain delay situation. What does this do to a guy like John Smoltz? I know a veteran, but he's gearing up for this game one of the NLCS.
Well, I'll tell you right now, John's inside playing cards. He's playing cards and relaxing, and what we need to do is notify him 45 minutes before we're getting ready to start up, and he'll be ready to go.
The key for you and for the San Diego Padres, though, is once this game begins, once he's warmed up, once we get a couple innings under our belts, then that's when you really worry about another rain delay and having to worry about bringing him back out there.
Right, because what we do is Bobby Cox looks at 60 minutes. If it's delayed more than 60 minutes, then it's time to move on to another pitcher, and that's where somebody like Denny Nagel becomes real important.
It's nice to have options, isn't it?
It's nice to have options, and, you know, Denny's a great pitcher, too, and he's scheduled to pitch the fourth game. So when you have Nagel and Millwood down there, both of them have started all year, so you know, you can't do nothing about the weather, but hopefully Smoltz can start, and then once he starts, don't let anything stop him.
Leo Mazzoni, thanks for the visit, and let's make this rain go away.
Oh, I hope so, you know, because, you know, you sit and wait. We've been waiting all day, and everybody's getting antsy.
That's Leo Mazzoni. Let's send it back to Chip Carey. Chip? Joe and Leo, thank you very much. I think Leo Mazzoni was talking about rain delays during the course of a ball game. Neither Ashby nor Smoltz warmed up before the ball game, so I would imagine both men would be able to start this game.
Yeah, no problem. They're both going to go out there and be able to pitch when this game starts. If you start, you get loosened up and you have a long rain delay, that's when you have to start worrying about getting the guy out of there because the arm will tighten up and you can never get it back to the way it was before when the game started. But I'll tell you what, I think the biggest advantage in this situation goes to San Diego because even though they have an outstanding starting staff, they're not quite as deep as the Atlanta Braves staff is. So the fact that neither pitcher got up to start and had to sit down, I think is the advantage to San Diego right now.
Crowd still cheering. They're watching video highlights of the ALCS, which is still going on in New York. It is still raining very heavily here in Atlanta, as you heard Joe Buck in his interview with Leonard Coleman, the National League president, a few moments ago. We are expecting the rain to stop around 9 o'clock, 9:30 Eastern time, maybe getting the game ready by 9:45 Eastern time. Game one, of course, between the Padres and the Atlanta Braves. Well, our Xerox pregame show will continue after a short timeout. We'll introduce you to the no-name gang. Who are these San Diego Padres? They're a team that had a great 98-win season. You'll meet them when we come back to Atlanta right after this.
Welcome back to the Xerox National League Championship pregame show.
It's still raining heavily at Turner Field in Atlanta. We're in a rain delay before the start of Game 1 of the National League Championship Series between the NLCS perennial appearers, the Atlanta Braves, and the San Diego Padres. With Steve Drip Dry Lyons, I'm Chip Carey. Welcome back to the Xerox National League Championship Series pregame show. I guess everybody around the National League not surprised that San Diego had a great year. They've got a very good starting staff, a tremendous bullpen, a lot of veterans. But I think a lot of people were shocked that they could beat Randy Johnson and the Astros twice in a 4-game series. So the question is, who are these guys and how'd they get here?
Well, I'll tell you, that is the big question. But the fact of the matter is that all the National League teams certainly know who these guys are. But you at home, you may be wondering, who the heck are these guys?
Beginning to get on my nerves. Who are those guys?
But what about the Padres? I mean, no one's talking about the Padres. They're the biggest fish in the West. Woo!
The Padres are making a big splash, folks, and they're no joke. 98 wins, solid starting pitching, the game's best closer, a 50-home run slugger, and great team chemistry.
I think it's about 25 guys that have one thing on their mind, and 25 guys that get along better than anyone that I've ever seen. We have 25 guys that are one.
We have a great bunch of guys. We have fun on the field, off the field. Nobody's untouchable in our locker room.
You hear anything in there?
Yeah, but
I don't hear anything. They're not.
You're going to get me in trouble. That's what my wife says. She says I don't see the dome.
Yep, new dome. New dome. And what, the only way we can tell you apart from Bowringer is you got the missing teeth there?
I got the Sergei tooth going. The old hockey look.
Exactly. Padres do a lot of things differently. The bullpen comes out and they throw a football to get their running in for their work. And the guy who makes the best catches gets the championship belt. Every day, a new guy wears the championship belt. How's it look?
We don't want to be satisfied just getting to this point. We want the whole thing. I'll just lay it on the line. We want the whole thing. We want the ring at the end of the year. We want the parade. We want all of that. And if we're able to do that, you won't see anybody any happier than I will be.
But what? They're very good.
Well, you know, Chip, I'll tell you exactly who these guys are. They're a bunch of guys that get along. They play very well together. No egos on this ball club. Bunch of team leaders, a bunch of different guys that can get it done every night. And they have a lot of themes going on this team. 3 or 4 of the guys have their heads shaved. They bang heads together. And they do a lot of things together as a ball club. Mark Sweeney, utility player, has a nickname for every player on this ball club. So it's really an amazing thing to see how close-knit these guys are.
I did notice that every time you do a Padres story or something involving the Padres, you end up all wet.
A lot of people think I'm all wet all the time.
Yeah, well, I'm certainly one of those. Well, let's talk about this Padre team and the role of the underdog. Everybody knows about Atlanta. Everybody knows about all their World Series appearances, all their NLCS appearances, all that great Atlanta pitching. Not too many people would compare the Padres starting pitching equally with Atlanta's, but they're pretty close to as good as the Atlanta starting staff, I would think.
Well, you should, especially if they pitch the way they're capable of. Ashby's a starter tonight. He went through a bad patch towards the end of the season, but this guy's a proven arm, and he's never had a bigger game than tonight's start in his 9-year career. The other guy, Sterling Hitchcock, we saw about the way that he dominated that Astros team when Randy Johnson was pitching against him. We figured, hey, that's a done deal. Johnson's going to win this game. Hitchcock was the guy who dominated in that game. And then, of course, Kevin Brown. I'll put Kevin Brown up against any starter in the National League, and he's a guy that can turn a series around for you, especially with his ability to go on 2, 3, 1 day's rest.
And how about the role of the underdog? I'm sure that's a role the San Diego team really does relish.
Yeah, they don't care about being the underdog. They're not the ones that with all the expectations to play and win this series.
So we're going to go to break. We're going to come back. It's still raining here in Atlanta. We're hoping Mother Nature will cooperate. We hope to have Game 1 of the NLCS between the San Diego Padres and the Atlanta Braves. Night in Georgia continues. Here in Atlanta, the Braves fans ready to chop up the Padres in Game 1 of the National League Championship Series from Turner Field in Atlanta. With Steve Lyons, I'm Chip Carey. Welcome back to Fox Sports coverage of the NLCS from Turner Field here in Atlanta. The rain delay continues, as you heard. We hope to have baseball around 9:45 Eastern time. In the meantime, rain delay programming comes your way. Let's join James Brown and the world's funniest. We'll have updates a little bit later on. 98 National League Championship Series tonight. The San Diego Padres and the Atlanta Braves. And welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Joel Buck, along with my partners Tim McCarver and Bob Brenly. Well, as we start this game, and we will, about 2 hours after the original start time, one of the real shames is in a year in which baseball has brought so many kids back to the game, this game is probably going to end after midnight Eastern time. So, with a thought about the kids and this game, watching Game 1 of the 1998 NLCS, we send it down to Chip Carey, who's standing by with National League President Leonard Coleman. Chip?
Joe, thank you very much. You're right, it is a late hour here in the East, but the folks in the Pacific time zone might be happy. And Leonard, what was the decision process? Was there any thought at all about canceling tonight's ball game because of the late hour here in the East?
Well, no, we really looking at the weather pattern, and the weather pattern, as you can see, it's clear, and right now it's a pretty good night for a ball game, so we're pleased with that, and hopefully we've got a window here that we can get the game in, and so that's a priority.
Joe Buck says he's not much of a meteorologist. I'm going to ask you, what kind of a meteorologist are you? What do the weathermen say at this point, and how likely are we to play 9 innings tonight?
Okay. Well, we're looking, obviously, we're looking to play 9 innings, and as I said, we've looked at the reports. We've got a window of opportunity, and time to play ball.
I know nobody wants to play 5 straight days, so it would be very important to get this ball game in, quite obviously.
No, we're looking forward to it, and I think it's in terms of fairness to both teams. We'd like to be able to get it in this evening, and we're hoping we're going to be able to do that.
Thanks for your cooperation. Hopefully Mother Nature will cooperate as well. Leonard Coleman, thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
All right, enjoy the ball game. Joe Buck, back to you upstairs.
All right, Chip Carey, thank you, and thank you to Leonard Coleman. It would obviously be a logistical nightmare if this game were canceled. We played tomorrow. Then we played on Friday afternoon. Everybody picks up stakes, goes to the West Coast, and we play on Saturday afternoon. That would be the only reason why, guys, we would try to get this game in, because of what I talked about and Chip talked about here at the top of the show. The common thinking is if Game 1 were rained out tonight, it would benefit San Diego, Tim, because they could theoretically throw Kevin Brown in what would be game number 1 tomorrow, which would open up the possibility of working him 3 times, if needed, in this best-of-7 series.
And that would give the Padres the best chance to beat the Braves.
Meanwhile, here we are as the Atlanta Braves try to get back to the World Series for the 5th time in the 1990s. We talk about pitching again, and that great Atlanta starting pitching. Tonight, they lead it off with right-hander John Smoltz.
Joe, I think in 50 years that people will continue to talk about the extraordinary success of the Atlanta Braves starters during the 90s. Greg Maddux, with 157 wins, leads all pitchers in both leagues. Tommy Glavine is 2nd, and John Smoltz is 5th. And nobody steps it up in postseason any better than John Smoltz. He has pitched and started Game 1 in 5 different postseason series, and he has won all of them. And look at that earned run average, a 1.40 ERA, minuscule. So if the San Diego Padres are to beat John Smoltz, they're going to have to earn it. But keep in mind, this is the same ball club, the Padres, that beat Randy Johnson twice last week.
Well, if it is true what we have all said, that nobody on a national level, the average fan, doesn't know much about the San Diego Padres, one thing we do know, baseball knows how good this team is and how dangerous this team is. And I'll tell you what, if people don't know the team in general, they know 17-year big leaguer Tony Gwynn.
Tony Gwynn has been an absolute model of offensive consistency throughout his 17 years with the Padres. Obviously headed for Cooperstown when he retires. 8 National League batting titles. A lot of fans don't realize he never finished lower than 6th in the National League in hitting until this year when he finished 9th. But it's a different Tony Gwynn we're seeing in the postseason. Nursing a sore left Achilles tendon, nursing a sore right knee. You can see the determination on his face to get into scoring position here in the Division Series clinching game against the Astros. Tony Gwynn has amassed some incredible personal offensive statistics. Now he wants to win. He wants to go to the World Series again for the first time since 1984.
If you don't believe Bob Brenly, let's hear from the man himself. Here are Tony Gwynn's thoughts on being in this series and another chance to get to the World Series.
I think individually, I don't think there's anything left for me to do that I haven't done already individually. And I want to win. And I've said that I don't know how many times, and I kind of stuck it out here in San Diego because this is where I wanted to be. And even that I got criticized for. He's not a big game player. He doesn't want the pressure. He doesn't want to go. That's a bunch of bull. I want all of that, but I want to do it here. And the fact that here we are, there's 4 teams left. We started with 8. There's 4 teams left. We're still here.
He will get all the pressure. He will get all the big games he wants in this series against the Atlanta Braves, against this very good Atlanta pitching staff. Well, we set the stage, and now nearly 2 hours after when we originally thought we'd begin, it's time to start the 1998 National League Championship Series. We'll be back with the starting lineups and pitch number 1 after this. John Smoltz getting ready for game number 1 of this NLCS, and here are his thoughts. You know, this has been an injury-plagued season, 2 times on the disabled list. His thoughts on changing his pitch selection.
Glavin and our bullpen coach, Jim Godagno, along with Leo Mazzoni, really hit the trigger for me, and that was arm speed. And I was able to throw 30 changeups a game, which that could have taken 8 starts for me in the past. And now I rely on it. Now it's a weapon, and it took off the amount of pitches I threw. It also took off the pressure in my fastball, and I canned the split finger, which, you know, I'm not going to point my finger to the elbow problems, but I wasn't going to allow it to even contribute to it, so I stopped throwing it.
John Smoltz, a 17-game winner during the regular season. In the postseason, 11-3. 11 postseason victories. A look at his pitching coach, Leo Mazzoni. It is John Smoltz for Atlanta. It is Andy Ashby for San Diego. It is game 1 of the NLCS. It is next after this.
National League Championship Series on Fox is brought to you by First Union, your guide to the financial world. By MCI 5-cent Sundays, pay the least on the day you call the most. And by Aflac, insuring over 40 million people worldwide.
Baseball fans have been seeing this in Atlanta in October since 1991. Here we go again. The chop. It's out. And we get ready for baseball here in the first game of the 1998 National League Championship Series. This game was not sold out beforehand, and with the rain and with the delay, which will be almost exactly to the minute, a 2-hour rain delay, you can see in the upper deck a lot of empty seats here at Turner Field in Atlanta.
And that would be unusual were it not for the fact that 5,000 empty seats were available for the first league divisional game against the Chicago Cubs.
Well, I said it in 1996. I'll say it again. They're a late arriving crowd. They probably won't get here till the World Series.
If they get the opportunity, and San Diego will have a lot to say about that. Right now for the starting lineup for the San Diego Padres, we take a look at it. They lead it off with Kilvio Veras at second base. Tony Gwynn bats second in right field, with Greg Vaughn hitting third in left field. What a year, 50 home runs. Ken Caminiti cleans up at third base with Wally Joyner at first. Steve Findlay in center field batting seventh. Carlos Hernandez hitting eighth. The shortstop Chris Gomez finished the season on a tear, and pitching and batting ninth. Not Kevin Brown, it's right-hander Andy Ashby. How about the defense for the Atlanta Braves? For the first time with this group of great pitchers here in Atlanta, they led the league in fielding, and as a team committed just 91 errors. And a look at right-hander John Smoltz.
You see Smoltz's numbers on the regular season. He missed some time earlier with an elbow problem. Still the outstanding 17-3 record. Very much a power pitcher, although you heard him say he relies more on the changeup now than the split finger.
So you really have to revise the scouting report on John Smoltz. One of the hardest sliders, biting away from right-handed batters, in on the left-handers. Very aggressive with that high moving fastball. And as John just said, he has gone away from the splitter in favor of the changeup. But this is worth reiterating. He has started game 1 of 5 postseason games and won every one of them. Nobody else has ever done that.
So John Smoltz getting the opportunity to pitch in one postseason series after another. And when you start to stack up his career numbers in the postseason against pitchers like Whitey Ford, you always have to remember that John Smoltz has the benefit of an extra 2 rounds in the playoffs, the division series, and of course the National League Championship Series. And the San Diego Padres, after what was for them a thrilling victory in the series against the Houston Astros, thanks in large part to the heroics of Jim Leyritz, are here in Atlanta taking on what has to be the favored team in this series. But nobody who knows anything about baseball writes off San Diego and says this is Atlanta all the way and they will get back for the 5th time to the World Series in the 90s. This broadcast is also available in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television. Glad you're with us. Glad you're still with us. 2-hour, 1-minute rain delay here at Turner Field, and Veras takes the ball low and away. Terry Tata called it a ball with Larry Poncino at first, Tom Hallion at second, Greg Bonet at third, Jerry Davis in left field, and Steve Ripley down the right field line. Low again. Smoltz didn't get it. 2-0.
What appears to be a very tight strike zone on the first 2 pitches of the ball game, obviously called low. John Smoltz with a long look in at Terry Tata.
Terry Tata's had a lot of time to think about these pitches in this strike zone here tonight, as Smoltz finds the strike zone. 2-1. Two and 2.
You know, in a lot of ways, Kilvio Veras becomes a better hitter when he gets to 2 strikes. He's got that little man complex. He's hit a few home runs in his career. He likes to swing hard early in the count. When he gets to 2 strikes, generally he cuts down on his swing a little bit, tries to hit the ball on the ground, take advantage of his speed.
And use the opposite field.
A full count on Veras leading off with Gwynn and Vaughn to follow. A look at Tony Gwynn. Hit .321 during the regular season. People call it a down year. .321. He's on deck. Veras fights it off and keeps the count full. 3-2.
Nothing fancy here. You'll see one fastball after another. John Smoltz does not want to run the risk of walking Veras with Gwynn and Vaughn coming up, and then followed by Caminetti and Joyner.
Another fastball, another foul ball.
You may have noticed that time Javi Lopez did not even put down a sign behind home plate. He put his fist down into his crotch and never put down a finger, did not give a sign. John Smoltz just wound up and threw a fastball, which he'll probably do again right here.
A leadoff walk to Kilvio Veras. We heard from Leo Mazzoni, the pitching coach of the Atlanta Braves, the very talented pitching coach of the Atlanta Braves, talking about John Smoltz during the rain delay, playing cards in the clubhouse, and as you said, Bob, probably working on his short game back there.
Yeah, they have a putting green back in the Braves clubhouse. We all know that the Atlanta starters are very avid golfers on days they do not pitch, so he was probably working on his putting down there.
While Tony Gwynn was probably working on his batting stroke.
And here is Gwynn. A strike over the outside corner to Tony.
And Tony showing bunt on the first pitch. We talked to Bruce Bochy before the game. He said he would probably play for a run early in the ball game. Unusual to see Tony Gwynn squaring around a bunt, a guy that handles the bat as well as he does. Normally you would allow him to take advantage of that hole on the right side.
Yeah, that was a decoy. He's not up there to bunt. No way.
1 ball, 1 strike. Tony Gwynn, a look down at third base coach Tim Flannery through the signs. And you asked, Bob, Bruce Bochy if he would do anything differently because of the weather. We understand there could be more weather on the way, more rain. So you might not be looking at a 9-inning game here tonight.
Well, you try to play for a lead early and hope to be able to hang on in the event the rains do come.
1 on, nobody out, 1 ball, 1 strike, and Gwynn takes it just low, and Smoltz a long look in at Terry Tata. A little longer than normal, wondering why these pitches near the knees aren't being called strikes.
I think what you may see is Tony Gwynn shoot pool right here. The uncanny ability to wait on the ball. Waiting and quick hands are 2 elements of good hitting. You may see Veras in motion here with the hit and run.
Still 2-1 on the hitter, Gwynn.
I guess there are 2 schools of thought as Veras gets back. Do you want a guy like Tony Gwynn swinging at the pitcher's pitch, or do you want a great hitter like him choosing what he likes?
2 balls and a strike. Veras running, hit and run was on. Smoltz with a bad throw to second. It goes to center. And as Lockhart comes up throwing, Veras is safe at third. It's 1st and 3rd with nobody out here in the 1st inning. And Barris is banged up after that collision with Chipper Jones.
A very uncharacteristic error by John Smoltz. Normally the Braves pitchers are very good fielders and help themselves with the glove, but you can see he gives Walt Weiss a bad throw to the left field side of the bag. Lockhart bounces on the misplay, throws to third base. Barris with an awkward slide into Chipper Jones' knee, and he's getting a look from the trainer over there.
Bob, Smoltz did not have control of that ball. A lot of times when you're throwing to a base, that ring finger gets involved, and I think that's what happened to John Smoltz and caused the errant throw to second.
So Smoltz kicking at the pitching rubber as he has a first and third nobody out situation, a fielder's choice E1 after the leadoff walk. And now with first and third nobody out, Greg Vaughn. You can come into this series talking about Tony Gwynn, but at some point, and we get a chance here early in an RBI situation for Vaughn, you have to realize that Greg Vaughn's offensive season, amidst a down year from some of his teammates, helped put San Diego in this postseason. 1 ball, 1 strike. Vaughn a career high 50 home runs. He hit 272 and drove in 119. And you compare that to what he did a year ago, only hitting 216 with 18 home runs and 57 RBIs. That just missed outside. 2-1.
And a lot of the damage that Vaughn did, Joe, was early in the season when the rest of his teammates were having trouble getting on track. See Javi Lopez set up on that outside corner, a very familiar location for a Braves catcher to set up for his pitchers, but did not get the call.
Out again.
And a little squirter out in front of the plate. Smoltz looks at the runner Barris and throws out Vaughn at first. The play goes 1-3 and it ends up second and third, 1 away.
If you're on third base with nobody out, you normally go in on a ground ball, but the third base coach will remind you, watch a ball that is topped, and that's what Barris did. He is a dead out at home should he try to score. Gwynn advances, Vaughn is out.
You get a look at Barris at the bottom of your picture. He comes down the line a couple steps, wait to see if the play is going to be made, and then retreats back to third base.
So the little roller makes it second and third, 1 out, and it brings Caminiti to the plate, who takes a pitch low from Smoltz. So uncharacteristically, Smoltz has fallen behind each hitter here in the first inning.
And also keep in mind, of John Smoltz's 58 runs that he allowed this season, 16 of them came in the first inning. Like a lot of good pitchers, you try to get to them early before he gets into his rhythm.
That caught the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. Barris a leadoff walk. He went first to third, and a ball hit back to the mound by Gwynn, and the errant throw by Smoltz. In Anthony's and Caminiti in the hole, 1 and 2.
RBI men are very anxious in situations like this. A slider down and in, out of the strike zone, could be where Smoltz goes right here.
Outside corner, struck him out, and Caminiti has words for Terry Tata.
Terry Tata proving that he is an equal ball and strike umpire. Here are the pitches to Ken Caminiti. The first one misses low, and then the fastball sinking on the outside part. Another one on the outside part. 3 in a row right on the corner to Ken Caminiti.
Second and third, 2 out now for Joyner. As the Padres need a 2-out something out of Wally Joyner. See what he's done in this postseason, and Caminiti's looking for help over on that dugout bench for somebody to commiserate with him.
Well, they're all going to agree with Caminiti. Yeah, you're right.
Second and third, 2 out, and that's over the outside corner. So all of a sudden, the outside corner or a couple of inches beyond is a strike, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike on Joyner.
That was second in the National League. Runners in scoring position of .412 average.
Second and third with 2 out. First inning for San Diego. And that's out of play and dangerous for strike 2.
What John Smoltz has been showing the Padres with his fastball, uncharacteristic fastballs for Smoltz. That 2-seamer on the outside corner to left-handed batters. Normally, he's strictly a 4-seam pitcher.
Crowd wanted it, didn't get it. 2-2.
Another pitch on the border of the strike zone, down just a little bit low. He told us he wasn't going to use the split as much in the ball game tonight, but that ball certainly reacted like a split finger.
Sure did.
Just missing again. 3-2 with first base open and Finley next. San Diego trying to pick up an early lead here in Atlanta, game 1. To the right side, Galarraga. The flip, the step, and the out. John Smoltz had 2 hours to wait around to walk the leadoff man. Gets around that. An error. The Padres lead 2-0 after a half inning. San Diego missed a first inning chance against John Smoltz and a chance to make an early statement against the Atlanta pitching staff. We look at Andy Ashby, the right-hander, and we look at the starting lineup for the Atlanta Braves. They lead it off with Walt Weiss at short. Keith Lockhart bats second at second, with Chipper Jones hitting third at third base. A career LCS .385 hitter, second all time. Andres Galarraga cleans up at first base with Ryan Klesko in left field. Javi Lopez is hitting sixth. Hitting seventh, Andrew Jones in center. Michael Tucker batting eighth and right. And John Smoltz, a good hitting pitcher, batting ninth. A look at the Padre defense, third in the National League. And you look at 104 errors this group combined for. And Caminiti, 3 consecutive Gold Glove awards at third base. At times a magician over there. And now the right-hander Andy Ashby, who won 17 games during the regular season. His first pitch to Weiss is a strike over the outside part.
Andy won 17 games this year, but he had 16 wins by August the 12th. He was 1-3 in his last 7 starts. An injured left buttock, I'm sure, contributed to that.
Also had a little tendonitis in his hip. Suffered through that. And Andy Ashby makes only his 3rd postseason start here in game 1 in Atlanta. 1 ball, 1 strike on Weiss, leading off for the Braves. Over but low, 2-1.
Not unusual to see Walt Weiss see a lot of pitches during the course of the at-bat. Bobby Cox said every time he looks up, Walt Weiss is 3-2.
He flies one into center, and the run for Finley to his right. 1 away. Andy Ashby this season 2-0 against the Atlanta Braves in a scouting report on the veteran right-hander.
Well, he's got a very good fastball that he will either sink in on the right-handers or cut into the left-handers. Has a good slider that he uses on the outside part of the plate, and working with Dave Stewart, the pitching coach for the Padres, he's come up with a devastating split-fingered fastball that he uses as his out pitch.
1 out, nobody on, and Lockhart out in front for strike 1.
One problem with Dave Stewart, he's just not intense enough.
Yeah, right.
No.
Goofing around over there all the time.
That's the pitching coach, and he scares you. Strike 2.
Well, he said when he came on board as the pitching coach for Bruce Bochy's Padres that he was going to try to bring mental intensity to the pitching staff. He felt that was something that was lacking. They had the arms, they didn't have the intensity.
Lockhart reaches out and dumps a base hit into right field. An 0-2 pitch, and Lockhart is aboard.
Sometimes on an 0-2 pitch, you just have to tip your hat to the catcher. This ball away. If you get a guy to reach like that and he pokes a single in there, really nothing you can do about that. That's just good hitting by Lockhart.
Good defensive two-strike swing. Yep. Just try to put the ball in play.
So Lockhart is on, bothered by a bad right hamstring during much of the second half of the season. Now Chipper Jones takes a ball just outside. Told you, a career .385 hitter in the LCS, and this young player is playing in his 4th league championship series already. Chipper Jones, a rookie back in 1995, as he takes ball 2-0.
If the Braves one season don't make the postseason, somebody's going to have to explain to Chipper Jones that he needs to go home at the end of the regular season.
Second only to Mickey Rivers' all-time LCS batting average.
What do you mean I got to pack and go home? It's a postseason.
1 on, 1 out. The 2-0 is a double play ball grounded to short. The flip out. There's the turn. 6-4-3. And Ashby faces only 3 in the first. We go to the second. Bottom part of the order coming up for San Diego. No score. We move to the second inning. No score. San Diego and Atlanta. Game 1. John Smoltz, who had off-season elbow surgery in December, 2 times on the disabled list during the 1998 season, rolled into the postseason, rolled right through the Cubs in the first round, got around a walk and an error in the first inning, and deals low for ball 1 to Steve Finley. Again, 2-0, and Smoltz again falls behind the hitter.
During the regular season, long rain delays usually affect hitters more than they do pitchers for whatever reason. Pitchers are more inclined to have a set pattern. John Smoltz gets his act together about 45 minutes before game time, but it seems like there are a lot of giveaway at bats. Bob, you and I were talking about it before the game. You don't gear yourself up properly, and by the 3rd time up, you're 0 for 2 and can't understand it.
Here's a leadoff walk on 4 straight to Finley. Second leadoff walk already for Smoltz. And the Padres have their 3rd base runner of the night with Hernandez, Gomez, and Ashby coming up.
Well, the Padres have to feel they missed a golden opportunity in the first inning. Runners at second and third, 1 out. Their number 4 and 5 hitters coming to the plate. They were not able to push across a run. See if they can take advantage of this leadoff walk here in the second.
Carlos Hernandez shoots it foul off to the right. Hernandez, for the first opportunity in his career, and it's been a long career dating back to days with the Dodgers and backing up Mike Scioscia. The first time in his career, got a full opportunity behind the plate, and he took advantage of it. Leyritz backs him up. Myers backs him up with the Padres, but Hernandez is the lead man and had a career high 9 home runs and 52 RBIs this season.
He was always a guy standing behind the mic. First Mike Scioscia and then Mike Piazza for 4 years. Finally a chance to play, signing a minor league free agent contract with San Diego, and he has just done a bang-up job with this pitching staff.
Hernandez off balance, pops it into shallow center. Long run, Andrew Jones. So good out there, 1 away. Those who watch Andrew Jones and the Atlanta Braves play on a daily basis believe Andrew Jones is the best center fielder in the game.
Well, there's no doubt he's got plenty of speed to play center field. Normally gets a very good jump on the ball. A little bit fooled by this one. It was hit off the end of the bat. He froze in his tracks initially and then had to come hard to make the play.
Bobby Cox saying that Andrew Jones, in his view, is the best center fielder that he has seen since Willie Mays. That's high praise.
I was just about to take that next step, and bring the Mays name out. As a ground ball goes to the right side, Galarraga to second, back to first, 3-6-3. And the second double play turn tonight, one for each side. And again, Smoltz around a leadoff walk in inning and a half, no score. A less than capacity crowd here in Atlanta. And for some, the kids, maybe a less than enthused crowd is, well, it's way past your bedtime. Right on cue. And to say nothing of the adults, as we talked about coming into this game, the real shame is by starting this game at 10:15 Eastern. The way these postseason games go, although we've flown through an inning and a half, you're looking easily past midnight Eastern, which for most kids means past their bedtime, and this game should end without them getting a chance to see most of it, which this year, and I think you guys will agree, more kids were brought to this game than I would say in the last 10 years because of one storyline after another that hit Major League Baseball, not the least of which the home run chase of McGuire and Sosa. Galarraga at the plate, a quick 0-2 count from Ashby with Klesko and Lopez to follow. A ball and 2 strikes. Galarraga reached for it. Ashby made him chase it and picks up his first strikeout. 1 away.
Check out this sweeping breaking ball from catcher Cam. Catcher Cam warned by Carlos Hernandez. That ball way outside. But Galarraga, a free swinger. Excellent sequence by Ashby. Fastball outside, slider outside. Then he missed with the fastball in intentionally and then went with the sweeping breaking ball.
To the delight of Dave Stewart. I have a feeling we're going to be seeing a lot of those eyes during this NLCS. Strike 1 on Klesko.
Big inning for Andy Ashby. The 2 hitters he'll face to start this inning. He's already retired Galarraga, and Ryan Klesko at the plate now are the 2 guys in this Braves lineup that have had the most success against Andy Ashby in their careers.
1 ball, 1 strike on Klesko.
Galarraga, a .417 lifetime hitter with 4 home runs. Klesko, a .333 lifetime hitter against Ashby.
That caught the inside corner, and strike 2 on Ryan Klesko.
More than any other Braves hitter, you have to bend them to Klesko. And when pitchers talk about bending them, they mean put a wrinkle in it, throw a breaking ball, or the splitter.
2-2.
And generally, if you use the fastball against him, you try to throw it in on the hands, up above the belt. Deadly low ball hitter.
Klesko just got a piece of that pitch, and it stays 2-2.
He hit that pitch with a shovel, didn't he? This pitch would have been on the ground had Ryan not swung at it.
You could see Hernandez getting into position to block that ball. It was headed for the dirt.
Klesko pops it up. Foul territory. Caminiti. 2 gone in the Atlanta second. So Klesko retired, now 3 out of 12 in this postseason, and Javier Lopez walks in, 2 out of 7 in the division series against Chicago. Ball 1 high.
Arguably, it was Javi Lopez's 1-out 9th inning home run against Kevin Tapani that has been the biggest home run in this postseason.
Had him reaching. Ashby has faced the minimum through 2. No score into the 3rd. Back after this from Fox Sports, your home for the 1998 World Series. Back after this message from your local station. Smoltz has walked the leadoff hitter in each of the first 2 innings. Into the third, no score. San Diego still looking for the first hit, and Andy Ashby, the pitcher, leads it off and takes a strike. The numbers for Ashby, just 8 out of 72 during the regular season. Outside corner, 0-2.
I think that's another area in which the Braves excel. Their starting pitchers, Glavine, Maddox, Smoltz, all handle the bat very well. With the exception of Kevin Brown for the Padres, their pitchers are not nearly as adept as the Braves starters offensively.
Ball and 2 strikes on Ashby. Ashby then back to the top. Veras and Gwynn for the Padres here in the 3rd inning. Ashby is gone, and strikeout number 2 for Smoltz. Let's talk football this week. On Fox NFL Sunday, the Carolina Panthers will head to Dallas and take on Michael Irvin and the Cowboys, plus other regional action. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, right here on Fox. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. 1 down and back to the top. Kilvio Veras, who led off with a walk. Back in the 1st inning. Tough play for Smoltz. Good play for Smoltz. They can hit and they can all field their position. 2 gone.
Pitch down in the strike zone, gets Veras to beat it into the dirt in front of home plate. If John Smoltz does not make this play, it's going to be a tough play for either Chipper Jones or Walt Weiss trying to make a throw on the run. But as you mentioned, Joe, these guys can do it all. That looked like the split finger down low. Goes up the ladder, makes a nice play.
So 2 out, nobody on, and Gwynn looks at a high pitch for ball 1. Tony reached on the fielder's choice and the error, which set up 1st and 3rd for the Padres. That's up the middle, and Weiss can't get to it. Tony Gwynn on base for the 2nd time, and that's the first San Diego hit of the night.
What a surprise.
Yeah, right.
The first hit by Tony Gwynn. 2,928 hits. Lifetime. 72 away from the magical 3,000 hit mark. 16 straight seasons batting 300 or more.
Well, we said it in the scouting report. He handles that bat like a pool cue. Fastball, side pocket. Slider, corner pocket.
Back up the middle for a 2-out hit, and that extends the inning for Greg Vaughn. Takes a fastball for strike 1. Vaughn bounced back to the pitcher. Had the RBI chance in the 1st inning with 1st and 3rd. And could not deliver for San Diego. Into right field, didn't get a lot of it. Michael Tucker to his left, there to put it away. The Padres get their first hit, strand their 3rd runner, and after 2.5 innings here in Atlanta, game 1, no score. Folks, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Andy Ashby back to the hill, no score. Bottom of the 3rd, and ball 1 up and away to Andrew Jones. Hitless in this postseason. Last year, 4 out of 9 in the LCS against Florida. Golfing one into left field, deep and gone. 1-0 Atlanta as 21-year-old Andrew Jones goes deep.
Inside part of the plate. It was down, but it wasn't away. When you see a catcher sitting that far outside and having to go inside, that's bad news right there, and you could see it from catcher cam.
Now Tucker goes down the left field line. Trouble if it's fair, and it is off the wall. Vaughn kicks it in left, and that's a stand-up double for Michael Tucker.
Tucker's generally considered to be a dead pull hitter. Normally hits the ball to right field, his pull field, but got a pitch up and out over the plate. I think if Greg Vaughn comes up with that ball clean off the wall, they have a play at second base on Michael Tucker. The ball was hit so hard, caromed directly back to Greg Vaughn, but he lost the handle before throwing the ball back in.
Well, they are already dancing in the streets of Willemstad, Curacao. That's where Andrew Jones is from. And you may remember a couple of years ago, 2 home runs in his first 2 at-bats as a 19-year-old, the youngest player ever to homer in a World Series at 19 years, 5 months, and 27 days. Boy, what a talent he is.
And now Tucker at second with nobody out for John Smoltz. San Diego expecting the bunt, and Smoltz nearly shot it fair past first. Talk about these pitchers handling the bat. Here's a good example of it.
You can look at the play Vaughn made in left field. He just fanned on it right there, did not come up with the ball, and as I mentioned, it was hit so hard, and the carom came directly to him. I believe they would have had a play of Michael Tucker at second base.
See if the Braves stick with a bunt, go back to the bunt, stick with the swing, whatever they want to do. Now Smoltz shows bunt early and drops it down foul and is quickly in the hole 0-2.
Now, those are the kind of options that a talented, multi-talented pitching staff will give a manager. Bobby Cox sends John Smoltz to the plate, gives him one opportunity to try to hit that ball to the right side, perhaps get a base hit into right field and drive in a run, and then switches it up and puts the bunt on.
0-2 the count. Ashby looking for his second strikeout of the night. Missing inside low, 1-2. And now John Smoltz checking with Bobby Dews, the third base coach. Caminiti about even with the bag at third. As he backs up, Smoltz swings away, and like a perfect bunt, out in front of the plate. Good play by Hernandez out at first, but over to third Tucker with only 1 out.
Somehow, some way, John Smoltz does the job. Wicked slider from Ashby. And Smoltz puts it in play.
That swinging bunt in a lot of ways is better than a regular sacrifice bunt because the defense doesn't have time to anticipate it.
You can't defend against it.
No.
That's right.
So that got Tucker to third easily, and it took a good play by Carlos Hernandez to record the first out of the inning, and now with the infield in. Tucker at third, 1 out. The batter's Walt Weiss, who's 0 for 1. Squeeze play. Weiss pops it up, and this will be an inning-ending double play. The throw back to Caminiti, and the Braves miss another chance as Weiss on the squeeze play popped it up. The double play, 1-5. Caminiti steps on. The Braves get only 1.
Michael Tucker, the runner at third base, and the one thing when the squeeze is on, the one thing you do not want to do is break too soon.
We'll give you another look at the squeeze play as Smoltz misses low to Caminiti.
Watch out, Tucker waits, and now he breaks as the ball is on its way. Walt Weiss, unfortunately for the Braves, could not get it on the ground, and an easy double play.
Now the 1-0 to Caminiti is grounded to the right side for Lockhart to his left. 1 out. Caminiti's 0 for 2.
Like Walt Weiss, the barrel of the bat just dipped below the plane of the ball. That's why he popped it up.
Pitch was right in on the hands. Started on the inside part of the plate, cutting further inside. Tried to pull the bat in there and get the ball down on the ground in fair territory, but unable to do it.
So So Bobby Cox going with a squeeze play here early. Attempt to make it a 2-run inning. The Braves get only 1 on the home run by Andrew Jones. Here in the 4th, 1 out, nobody on for Wally Joyner. 1 ball, 1 strike, 93 miles per hour from Smoltz. A strike, and it's 1-2 on Joyner.
Yeah, Joyner was somewhat questionable for this game tonight. He's been bothered by a sore left shoulder, a sore left biceps muscle. Went to see a chiropractor the other day. Bobby Cox said Wally Joyner told him he feels better now than he did in spring training.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Joyner spoiled it to stay up there, 2-2. A look at Finley, who's on deck. The 4, 5, and 6 hitters for San Diego here in the 4th. Caminetti grounded out. And now the 2-2 pitch to Joyner. Again to the right side. Lockhart picks it, throws it, 2 up, 2 down. We'll give you now our Aflac trivia question. Can you name the 3 Padres in uniform tonight that played for the 1984 National League champion San Diego Padre team?
San Diego going to the World Series that year. They were beaten by the Detroit Tigers in 5 games. The only time the Padre franchise has made a World Series appearance.
2 out, nobody on for Finley. And a good pitch down and away from Smoltz. One ball, 1 strike as John Smoltz tries to retire the side in order for the first time tonight. Finley couldn't hold up, not much of a swing, and now he's in the hole, 1-2.
The outfield hits by direction for Steve Finley. Very much a pull hitter. 99 of his base hits came to right field. However, the Braves have center fielder Andrew Jones shading him to left center field.
Finley goes that way to the shortstop. Weiss circles, throws, got him, and it's the first perfect inning for John Smoltz. Bottom of the 4th inning. Lockhart, Jones, Galarraga coming up for Atlanta. 1-0 Braves. Andy Ashby getting the start game 1 of the NLCS. Undrafted free agent signed by Philadelphia back in 1986. Unimpressive in 2 seasons with Philadelphia. An expansion pick by Colorado, was winless there. Traded to San Diego, and here he is, a 17-game winner. Starting game 1 of this series with Atlanta. Starts Lockhart with a strike. And that's fouled. Third base side. Long run, Caminetti, and he just can't get there. Strike 2 on Lockhart.
Caminetti, the blood and guts of this San Diego ball club, the MVP a couple of years ago. Talk about Tony Gwynn being a leader. This guy right here, one of the consummate leaders in the major leagues on any club.
He has been banged up over the years, Bob, but seemingly in every key series is there for Bruce Bochy, no matter what the ailment. He rubs something on it and runs out there.
Tape and aspirin on it. It's funny to watch him. Sometimes he limps to the plate. You wonder if he's even going to make it to the batter's box.
The 0-2 to Lockhart. This is down and in.
That's what Jim Brown did after every tackle.
Limp back to the huddle, act like he couldn't run another step.
A 1-2 to Lockhart. A shot into right center field. That is trouble. Finley won't get there, and it's all the way to the wall. Lockhart, with a bad hamstring, will settle for a leadoff stand-up double. Keith had thoughts of a triple, but I think the hamstring jumped up and said no.
And also the fact that leading off the inning, the cardinal rule, you never make the first or the last out of an inning at third base. Lockhart, a very solid fundamental player, content to hold up at second base. Not unusual to see Lockhart pull the ball either. He's a little guy that you would assume sprays the ball to all fields, but very much a pull hitter, and found that gap in right center field.
The top 2 hitters in the Atlanta lineup for Bobby Cox. Walt Weiss has had a strained left quad for the second half of the year and had hamstring trouble early. And Lockhart has had that bad right hamstring. Here's Chipper Jones, and there's ball 1 outside.
Part of the reason why Bobby Cox elected to keep Marty Malloy on the postseason roster, an extra infielder, rather than Curtis Pride, an extra outfielder. In the event that something happens to one of his middle infielders, he wanted to make sure to have that safety net.
Jones hops out of there. Bobby Cox, to me, seems to get very little credit for the success here in Atlanta. You start stacking up what he has done as a manager here. It blows just about everyone else away as Jones pops it into left field. It'll carry to Vaughn. Bobbled it a bit. Back to second as Lockhart 1 away. We gave you our Aflac trivia question. Can you name the 3 Padres in uniform tonight who played for the 1984 National League champion San Diego team? And our Aflac trivia answer, Tony Gwynn, who was an active player in his second year in the big leagues in 1984. Bruce Bochy, a backup catcher, and Tim Flannery, a good bench player. And now the third base coach for San Diego. Runner at second with 1 out. Galarraga pops it foul off the fists, backing out of play. A leadoff double. Chipper Jones lined into left. Jones did not advance the runner. Now Galarraga, who struck out his first time. The ground ball to short, going to be a tough play for Gomez. Good play by Gomez, 2 out. Lockhart gets to third, but Chris Gomez took what could have been an infield hit away from Galarraga.
Galarraga, a very fast runner, and usually on a slider away to a right-handed batter. That gives him the impetus to get down to first base a little quicker. Gomez had to hurry. Nice play by Chris.
As you mentioned, Timmy, just the momentum of reaching out for that outside pitch has your body moving towards first base as you make contact with the ball. And infielders know that.
Runner at third, 2 out for Klesko, with Atlanta leading 1-0 here in the 4th inning, and ball 1 high from Ashby. Ryan Klesko drove in 70 runs during the regular season. Hit a grand slam in game 1 of the division series against Chicago. One of his 3 postseason hits in '98.
Dead low ball hitter. If the pitch is on the inside part of the plate or over the middle, ball's up and away, he can still reach out and pull those balls back to right field.
That was over the outside corner to make it 2-1. We go back to game 1 of the division series, 7th inning, against Matt Karchner. And like the tomahawk you see all over this park, tomahawk swing by Klesko in the grand slam. Now a squirter off the end of the bat. Tough play by Ashby. Got him at first to end the inning. Andy Ashby saved a run with that effort off the mound. Joyner dug it out on the other end, still 1-0 Atlanta.
We have the benefit of watching 2 great fielding first basemen, Wally Joyner and Andres Galarraga. Watch the play by Wally Joyner and watch how he sells it to first base umpire Larry Poncino. You never look back at the umpire. Klesko's trying to sell it on the other end. A couple of salesmen out there.
Carlos Hernandez takes a ball low and away. Looked like on the replay that Larry Poncino got the call right.
Very close, but I think he got it right.
Hernandez leading off. 1 ball, 1 strike from John Smoltz. Hernandez, Gomez, and Ashby, the 7, 8, and 9 hitters for San Diego. One and 2 on Hernandez.
Smoltz has thrown his fastball at a variety of different speeds tonight. He's reached as high as 96. He's thrown some down around 87.
A little flare into right center is going to fall for a hit off the bat of Hernandez, and the Padres have their 2nd hit and 5th base runner of the night.
Yeah, that's outstanding hitting by Carlos Hernandez. He goes into his defensive mode. A lot of people say, well, it was off the end of the bat. If you don't hit defensively in this situation, you don't get hits like that.
You can see he shortened up his stride a little bit, just picked his foot up, put it right back in the same spot, tried to swing all arms, all wrists, able to put it into play.
Now the number 8 man, Chris Gomez, who hit just .267 during the regular season, but in his last 42 games hit .346. And really right around the start of that stretch, trade rumors were swirling around San Diego, and in particular Chris Gomez. Padres were reportedly interested in Royce Clayton, Edgar Renteria, Barry Larkin. They stick with Gomez, and heck, in the division series and an on-base percentage of .467 against Houston.
Well, you know, trade rumors are going to swirl around a player who just built a new house. He built one in Carlsbad, California. That's where Chris and his family live right now. The minute you build a house, that's trouble.
Surest way to get traded.
2 balls and a strike from Smoltz to Gomez.
Put the kids in school, join the PTA, and next thing you know, you're in Minnesota.
So Gomez survived the trade rumors in San Diego. Finished strong, and here he is. With 1 on, nobody out, and a 2-2 count facing Smoltz. Ashby, the pitcher, waits on deck. Gomez fouls it out of play.
We've seen throughout the early part of this ball game that Andrew Jones in center field is shading almost every Padres hitter to hit the ball the opposite way. You see him over into right center, a few steps right there. The Braves do that more than any other team because their pitching staff has such good control. They work the hitters away. They force the batters to hit the ball to the opposite field.
Gomez spoiled another high, dangerous pitch from Smoltz.
Sometimes as a hitter, if you check the center fielder or the opposite fielder, you can get a pretty good idea about how a team's trying to pitch to you. For instance, right here, you know you're not going to get any off-speed pitches from John Smoltz, because if you do, then Smoltz is pitching against the defense. The defense is playing around toward the right field line. So that would imply that Smoltz hard stuff away, and sure enough, he's been consistent with that against Gomez.
Again, the 2-2. Got him over the outside corner, 1 away. 3rd strikeout for Smoltz.
We talked about how Smoltz was pitching to the defense. Watch how he continues to stay away against Gomez. Fastball, then the slider, fastball, slider, slider, fouled off, fastball fouled off, fastball got him. Every pitch, John was trying to hit the outside corner.
Now Ashby shows bunt, bunts it foul.
And because not only John Smoltz, but Tom Glavine, Denny Nagel, right down the line, Maddox, they hit their spots so well that you can afford to overplay to the opposite field. Another pitcher, perhaps in that sequence, would have thrown that slider over the heart of the plate, maybe missed over the heart of the plate with a fastball, given Gomez a pitch to pull.
A leadoff hit by Hernandez. He's at first with 1 out as Andy Ashby struck out his first time, bunts to the right side, and Smoltz will take the sure out on the tag, and the sacrifice is good from Ashby. Tying run down to second with 2 out here in the 5th. Hey, watch for the Gillette Mach 3 strike zone challenge prior to Game 4 of the 1998 World Series. You will see one lucky fan get the chance to throw a pitch for $2 million.
Not $1 million, $2 million.
The Gillette Mach 3 provided this clean, close shave that you saw on camera here tonight.
2 of them. At least 2 of them.
That was late this morning.
That's right. It was such an odd start to this game. I mean, everybody was geared up for an 8 o'clock start. In fact, the Braves took batting practice. The rain hit in the middle of San Diego's batting practice. And then it lasted up until around 9:15, 9:20. We got this game started 2 hours late, 2 hours 1 minute, according to the scoreboard clock at least, here at Turner Field. And it was an odd beginning, starting with a leadoff walk from Smoltz to the man at the plate, Kilvio Veras. 2-0 now from John.
And those delays are very tough on players. You don't know what to do with yourself. You know, you can go to the cage, maybe take some extra cuts, do something to stay loose, but then you reach a point where you say, I run the danger of fatiguing myself if I continue to work out, continue to stay loose. Well, you got to find the time to just key down a little bit, try to control your emotions, play some cards.
Don't want to leave it in the rehearsal hall.
You got that right.
Runner at second, 2 out, and a strike catches the outside corner to Veras. Kilvio drove in 45 runs during the regular season. And he looks for his first postseason RBI. If he gets it here, he'd tie the game. On the outside corner again, 2-2. And this crowd starts to crank it up as Smoltz looks for strikeout number 4, or just out number 3 here in the 5th. Full count. There's another manager who hasn't, in my estimation, gotten the credit that he deserves. Padres have won the West 3 times in their history. He's been the manager 2 of those 3 times. 96 in this season and 98. Bruce Bochy has that knack, which is so important for today's manager, to help these players put their egos aside and have the chemistry you need to succeed. 3-2 to Veras. Ball 4 just down and in, puts 2 on with 2 out for Tony Gwynn.
A spray charge for Tony Gwynn. Line to line. Even though this year he's pulled the ball a little more, that Achilles problem on his left heel, he has had a very difficult time pushing off from that back foot.
An opportunity for San Diego, down by a run in the 5th inning with their best at the plate, and Gwynn delivers. Hernandez rounds third, heads to the plate. Going to third is Veras, and it's a 1-1 game as Gwynn is 2 out of 3. We'll say it again. Who else? Gwynn, after the walk, delivers for San Diego.
That is a patented Tony Gwynn swing right there. Line drive left central. Padres have 3 hits. Not a surprise. Tony with 2, and he drives in the first run of the ball game for the Padres.
And it's a 1-1 game as you get another look at Gwynn dumping it into left center field.
And a real good illustration there. Tony Gwynn talks about landing softly on that front foot. That's the key to his entire swing. Getting that front foot down on the ground before the pitcher releases the ball, being able to recognize the pitch. As you mentioned earlier, Tim, wait a long time on the ball and line those singles into left field. Watch the front foot of Tony Gwynn as it lands softly as the pitch is delivered. Keeps his weight back, throws the barrel of the bat at the ball, and another line drive into left field.
And now first and third with 2 down for Vaughn, who pops it into right field. Well hit. Tucker back. On the track, a leaping catch to end the inning. Michael Tucker keeps it a 1-1 game with that great effort out in right. The leaping catch to rob Vaughn, to rob the Padres. And as we have played half of Game 1 of the NLCS, it's a 1-1 game.
League Championship Series on Fox is brought to you by the new Silverado, the truck from Chevrolet, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks, and by UPS, moving at the speed of business.
What a catch by Michael Tucker. Have a look and a listen. Wow. And now a pitch inside to Javier Lopez as we start the bottom of the 5th inning. With Tucker due up third here in the 5th of a 1-1 game. 1 ball, no strikes, and there's a strike over the outside corner from Ashby. Ruben Rivera takes over in left field for Greg Vaughn, who strained his left quad. Another strained quad.
Another strained quad. May have done it on that swing.
He may have.
Such a big hack.
Yep.
Uses a lot of legs in his swing. We're just speculating at this point, but it wouldn't be a bit surprising as you see Vaughn limping off the field after flying out to Tucker in right field.
A ball and 2 strikes, and Javier Lopez leading off. He bounced back to Ashby. His first time up. Spoiled it, 1-2. The 1998 postseason, hitting .250, had a dismal LCS last year. Against Florida was only 1 for 17. Hit .542 in the 1996 NLCS. Was the MVP in the series against St. Louis. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Now, offense was never a problem for Javi Lopez. Early in his career, defense was the problem. Very erratic behind home plate, very erratic thrower. He's improved that immensely.
Lopez spoils another good pitch.
To the point where this year Lopez threw out 34% of the runners trying to steal against him, which rated first in the National League for catchers.
Lopez chased it. Nasty pitch from Andy Ashby. And for the definitive word on what happened to Greg Vaughn, let's go down to Steve Lyons.
Joe, Greg Vaughn has a strained left quadriceps muscle. He did it in the 3rd inning on the ball that Michael Tucker hit off the wall. The grass gave way. That's why the ball went through his legs. And that's the problem that he has right now.
All right, Steve, thank you.
Could be caused by that wet outfield. It is wetter in left field. That's where all the water went off the tarp. The infield's dry, but left field and left center, shallow left is wet.
1 out, nobody on for Andrew Jones, and a ball 0 away. So it didn't just rain more in left field. That's where the water was knocked off the tarp. 1 ball, no strikes, and a big swing by Andrew Jones back to his 3rd inning homer.
Breaking ball that just hung up on the inside part of the plate, never bit, never went down and away. Jones golfed it out to left field.
Shatters his bat. The business end sails into the crowd, out at first, but you just hope everybody's all right behind the Padres on deck circle. And miraculously, everyone is. Went right over the head of National League President Leonard Coleman.
I think the fellow that was hit, he is being tended to by an usher, and he's asking for not the crack bat, but a regular bat. I think you'll probably get one, too.
I think it hit right between the 2 gentlemen there in the green shirt and the blue shirt. You can see the gentleman in the green rubbing his right arm. The gentleman in the blue rubbing his left arm. Apparently it hit right between them, fortunately.
And now Michael Tucker, who made that catch in right, thinks a ball low and away. This is a souvenir you want no part of.
Absolutely not. A good fastball right in on the hands of Andrew Jones. Very thin-handled bat. When you get down below that trademark, that happens a lot.
And it shows you the difference of the breaking ball that was inside to Andrew Jones. That was the home run, and the fastball that bit in there and broke his bat. Big difference in those two pitches.
2 balls, no strikes. Now 2-1 on Tucker. An interesting way to look at this series, and these games in particular. The question, can San Diego win the first 2/3 of the game with that great bullpen? The question on the other side, with a suspect bullpen only because of the inexperience down there for Atlanta, can they win the final third of these ball games? But really, these two pitching staffs in direct contrast to one another. The Braves top heavy, and the Padres are so talented down at the back end. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Tucker, who didn't like the call.
As an example, in the division series, Bobby Cox used 3 rookie relievers, and he has them available for the LCS.
2 out, nobody on. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Tucker. And that just missed the inside corner for the first walk handed out tonight by Ashby. Our game summary is brought to you by MCI. We play in the bottom of the 5th inning. Andrew Jones, the first RBI of the night, a solo home run in the 3rd. Tony Gwynn knocks in the first run of the series for San Diego with a 2-out RBI single in the 5th. The pitching lines for each pitcher. And of those 3 walks behind the name of Smoltz, they'll be thinking about the second walk he issued to kill the O'Veris in this game, which with 2 out continued the inning for Tony Gwynn, who then beat him with a hit into left center. Two-out walk to Tucker, and Ashby deals with Smoltz. Caught the corner, 1-1.
And Ashby will definitely pitch John Smoltz differently in this situation than in a potential sacrifice bunt situation. Bunting situation, the general rule of thumb is you throw high fastballs, hope to get the guy to pop it in the air as he attempts to bunt.
A breaking ball is squirted off to the right. Tough play for Ashby, and he makes his second very good defensive play of the night. He did so back in the 4th. He does to end the 5th, and we're tied 1-1. Well, John Smoltz made a bid for an infield hit with this little number off his bat, and as he ran down to first, Ashby made a great play, and every one of us 3 looked at each other and thought about the Yankee game earlier tonight.
Yankee game in the 12th inning with Travis Fryman bunting. Enrique Wilson on at first. A game tied 1-1. Wilson comes all the way around to score as Chuck Knobloch stayed at first base, did not retreat for the ball. He was trying to sell the fact that the ball hit him. And that a very, very controversial play as the Indians, even the American League Championship Series, at 1 game apiece.
Caminetti leads off for San Diego. Caminetti, Joyner, and Finley. Blair into left. Weiss goes out to get it. And with that bad left quad, hobbles after it, makes the catch. Caminetti is now 0 for 3.
Home plate umpire Ted Hendry in that Yankee game up at Yankee Stadium. Off day tomorrow, and then they go to Cleveland. But to me, that was, of course, you know, watching it on the air and on the replay, that was pretty clear that it was interference.
Here's Joyner. He takes a ball.
Well inside the restraining line all the way to first base was Travis Fryman until the last step where he hit first base with his right foot, which would indicate the rest of his body is still into fair territory, but call went the Indians' way.
If the ball hit him and Fryman was coming down on the other side of the bag, I could have understood it, because then he would have been safe. But it appeared that had Knobloch made the catch, he would have been out. And for that reason, since the ball hit him, I think it should have been called interference.
I think we all agree on that. NBC had former American League umpire Steve Palermo in the booth, who also agrees with that thought process with regard to the play at first as Joyner flies into center. Andrew Jones so smooth going back to get it 2 out. It is very rare to hear even an ex-umpire, a former Major League umpire, go against a ruling on the field. Steve Palermo doing it in that game, and it was clear and obvious that the wrong call was made, that Fryman was well inside that running lane, 45-foot running lane, and was in the way of the throw and therefore interfered with the play. But the Yankees did not get the call, and the Indians went on to a 4-1 victory in 12 innings in Game 2. Finley, a good swing and a foul straight back, 1-1.
Yeah, with 2 outs and nobody on, Steve Finley trying to jerk the ball, and for that reason, John Smoltz is trying to stay away from it. A single to left field isn't going to hurt you, but a home run gives the Padres the lead for the first time tonight.
Well, 1-1, 2 balls and a strike. You talk about home runs for Finley. It was a down year this season. He hit 28 last year. He hit just 14 in 1998. Potential unrestricted free agent at the end of this postseason. 3 balls and a strike from Smoltz.
Dangerous situation right here. If you're Steve Finley, you're probably reaching out on that outside corner to try to yank one, try to hook one down the right field line. If you're John Smoltz, you want to stay away.
Caught the outside corner, 3-2. So Smoltz did stay away, and he got the call, full count. A 2-out walk, and that's the 4th walk issued by Smoltz in 5 2/3 innings. So not typical Smoltz control-wise, and again to underline the 2-out walk to Kilvio Veras, just a .267 hitter during the regular season to keep the 5th inning alive for Tony Gwynn, who hit with first and second and 2 out, and he singled into left center field to tie this game at 1. Now Hernandez goes up there pumping, strike 1.
Watch out, Javi. Got him just on that little sidebar that extends out from the mask to protect the ears. Spun the mask around a little bit. Just a wake-up call.
I'd rather have the phone ring instead of my head.
Here's the 0-1. A ball and a strike as Smoltz got it up there, 93 miles per hour. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 on, 2 out. And Andy Ashby is pitching a terrific game here tonight in Game 1. These Padres, at least for the first 5 innings with Ashby on the mound, are standing toe-to-toe with the Atlanta Braves, and tonight John Smoltz.
I was thinking right along with John Smoltz then. Steve Finley, 12 stolen bases in 15 tries during the season. A good time to run with 2 outs in the bottom of the order up. Can't expect a lot of long ball productivity out of the 7th and 8th place hitters.
Time called at the plate. A 2-out walk hurt Smoltz and the Braves in the 5th. A 2-out walk here in the 6th inning brings Hernandez to the plate with Finley at first. Another throw over.
Now, one thing to keep in mind, Javi Lopez, the Braves catcher, picked off 2 base runners this year and loves to throw to the bases. Steve Finley got a jump on the first pitch, took a couple of steps towards second, hit the brakes. If he does that again, look for Javi Lopez to attempt a pickoff down there.
Mark Langston warming for the Padres. Who could forget that pickoff of Lopez in Game 6 of the World Series in '95?
Picked off Manny Ramirez of the Cleveland Indians. Danny Ramirez has had all sorts of trouble on the bases. And Lopez caught him napping in that game. Game 6 was the clinching game for Atlanta. A home run by Justice. 1 on, 2 out, 2 balls and a strike. Finley stays put. And Hernandez fouls it out of play, 2-2.
A lot of times as a catcher, you can set up the pickoff throw to first base. If you have the count in your favor, call for a fastball off the plate outside and step into it almost like a pitch out. Come directly up and make the throw to first base.
This crowd trying to make noise. 11:48 local time. As Smoltz misses outside, runs the count full 3-2, which will give Finley a head start at first. Finley will go, and an extra base hit by Hernandez might put San Diego on top here in the 6th inning. Hernandez fouls it away.
Once again, Andruw Jones is playing into right center field. And John Smoltz, true to his code, everything has been away to Carlos Hernandez. Left center field wide open. If Hernandez can reach out there and hook a ball into left center, but it's tough to hook that ball going away from you.
Finley will take off, and the 3-2 pitch is low. Back-to-back walks, 5 in the game from Smoltz. And the inning progresses to Chris Gomez. John Smoltz upping his season high. During the regular season, his high was 4 in any one start, now 5 tonight. And for the year, just 44 walks from Smoltz in 167 plus innings. And now with 2 on, 2 out, it's Chris Gomez trying to put San Diego out in front. John Vanderwall, the ace pinch hitter off the bench for San Diego, at least the left-handed version. I would have to think Jim Layrich would be the right-handed version. He's in the on-deck circle with Langston getting ready in the San Diego bullpen, and Ashby, the scheduled hitter, next. Gomez goes after a high delivery, strike 1.
I am a little surprised at Andruw Jones in center and Michael Tucker in right. I think they're a bit too deep. I think they could come in about 2 or 3 steps, because Gomez, if he has power, it's to the pull side, not to center and not to right. Also, he puts you in a better position to make a play on Finley on a ball hard hit to center or to right field.
Gomez trying to go to right, fouls it away, and now he's in the hole 0-2. Most of this Atlanta crowd to its feet with an 0-2 count on Chris Gomez. A 1-1 game here in the 6th. Got him looking. Strikeout number 4 for John Smoltz. He walks 2 in the inning. The Padres have left 7. Bottom of the 6th inning, tied at 1. We welcome you back to Turner Field here in Atlanta. And we will remind you to be sure to tune in tomorrow night for Game 2 of the NLCS. The Padres here in Atlanta. Coverage begins at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on Fox, your home of the 1998 World Series. What a pitching matchup. Kevin Brown, 18-game winner for San Diego against left-handed pitcher, the only 20-game winner in the National League during the regular season, Tom Glavine. The playoffs continue on NBC on Friday night. Bob Costas and Joe Morgan bring you game 3 of the ALCS as they head to Cleveland at Jacobs Field. It'll hit the air at 8 p.m. Eastern from Cleveland. Yankees and Indians Friday night on NBC with that series tied at 1 game apiece. Curtis Pride with a horseshoe.
Close only counts in horseshoes.
That's right. The rally caps were big here early. Back in the early 90s when the Braves started this run back in 1991, they've gone from the caps to a full-blown horseshoe. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Oh, Weiser. Well, they have a saying in baseball about a guy that's in a very much of a hot streak and getting all the breaks that he has a horseshoe in his pocket or something like that. That may be the horseshoe they've been talking about.
Ground ball to first, picked up by Joyner. I'll cut you off right there, 1 away, and Weiss is 0 for 3.
Thank you.
We'll give you this next at bat as Lockhart walks in from catcher camp. We've been fortunate in the postseason to have Ivan Rodriguez of Texas wear it. Sandy Alomar of Cleveland, and tonight Carlos Hernandez. Lockhart off the end of the bat. That worked well. Ground ball to third, and Caminiti takes care of Lockhart. Maybe we'll give you another look or two from catcher cam. That didn't last long enough. Lockhart first pitch swinging. Guys, you know, you come into this series and everybody talks about the Atlanta pitching staff with very good reason. Cy Young Award with last year's exception. Since 1991, residing here in Atlanta, with 92 being another exception, but by Maddox, who was then with Chicago. Here it is from catcher cam, and a pitch inside to Chipper Jones. But you look at what San Diego is doing coming off the series against Houston, shutting down the National League's most productive offense. The Killer Bees were silent in that series. Ground ball to the right side off the bat of Jones. Easy inning for Ashby. Will return to Turner Field in Atlanta after this from your local Fox station. John Smoltz back for the 7th inning of a 1-1 game. The numbers, the line for John Smoltz: 5 walks, 4 strikeouts. He allowed just the 1 run and only 3 San Diego hits. And Andy Ashby, who's doing the job on the mound because he is pitching so well, leads it off here in the 7th inning. What a start tonight for Andy Ashby and the San Diego Padres, getting what they're getting out of this right-hander, with Kevin Brown scheduled to go tomorrow night.
A lot of people criticize Bruce Bochy for electing to start Ashby in this ball game rather than Kevin Brown, but I think you can see his reasoning. If Ashby goes out and pitches a game like he's done up to this point, and the Padres are able to eke out a victory as Ashby goes down on strikes, then you come back with your ace in game 2, and any manager assumes that his ace is going to win his start.
A look at Kevin Brown, who will tow it up tomorrow night for San Diego, as we give you another look at the 5th strikeout of the night for John Smoltz.
And one would think that the pressure would be on Bruce Bochy to make a decision like that, because the Atlanta Braves have 3 aces on their staff: Glavine, Smoltz, Maddox. Flip a coin.
I mentioned Bochy would assume that his ace would win the game. Of course, that's a big assumption when you're facing Tom Glavine.
Sure is.
1 ball, no strikes on Kilvio Veras. 1-1 on Kilvio, who's been to the plate 3 times and walked twice. Win next. He has the only RBI tonight for San Diego.
Worst 2 words a pitcher wants to hear: win next.
Strike 2 on Veras.
How about the story that Tony told us yesterday, running into Tony? He had 203 for the month of July. He goes to Shea Stadium in New York, a 3-game series with the New York Mets. The first game, the Pittsfield Mets playing the Hudson Valley Renegades, 2 Class A teams.
2-2 on Veras.
Tony decides to go out on the bench and watch the game. Naturally, some of the Hudson Valley Renegades come over and say, "What are you doing out here?" Tony said, "I might pick up something." They said, "Yeah, Tony Gwynn might pick up something from Class A hitters. You know what? He picked up something. He was seeing a hitter hit for the Pittsfield Mets, a number 17. Tony didn't know who he was. We found out who he was. Robert Stratton was the right-handed batter. He lives in Santa Barbara. Can you imagine what he's going to say tonight?
Veras flies to deep center. Andrew Jones back on the run. Getting to the track, he pulls it in, and Veras is 0 for 2. Well, gentlemen, start your engines. Taking out the trash, just got dirty. Central on Fox. Here's Gwynn, and there's strike one.
So Robert Stratton, you can be very proud. Tony Gwynn picked up a hitting tip for you and went 18 for his next 32. And then his Achilles problem came.
Tony gets out of the way. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And that was intentional. Get away from my plate, John Smoltz says.
Very good purpose pitch right here. At the letters, up and in. Force Tony to come up out of that crouch where he sees the ball so well.
Gwynn will probably be scared, right? Pitch up and away, 2-1. It'd be tough to scare an 8-time batting champion off the plate.
How about his numbers against John Smoltz? 452 lifetime coming into this game and 2 for 3 tonight.
Two balls and a strike, 2 out, nobody on, and Gwynn pops it foul left side, 2-2.
You see Tony's favorites, his highest career batting average against those pitchers. John Smoltz at the top of the list, 462 counting tonight's game. Greg Maddux second at 455. I'll tell you, he's not picking on those middle relievers.
No.
The 2-2. Gwynn into center field. Jones back to get it. Inning over. Padres go in order. It's time to stretch. Galarraga, Klesko, Lopez coming up. Bottom of the 7th inning. Game 1 tied at 1. Well, Andy Ashby goes back to work in the bottom of the 7th inning. He will deal with Galarraga, Klesko, and Lopez, the heart of the Atlanta lineup. 1-1 the score in game 1. And that's ripped down the line in left field. It is foul. Hooking into the corner, and strike 1, a loud and long strike off the bat of Galarraga.
And Bob and I were talking between innings about how dangerous an at-bat this was, since Galarraga has seen Ashby a couple of times.
And we mentioned earlier, Galarraga with the best career numbers against Ashby. It just misses down the left field line here.
So strike 1. One ball, 1 strike.
There are a lot of hitters that hit mistakes. Galarraga hits them farther than most hitters. That's the big difference.
Ashby in his 7th inning of work gets out in front of Galarraga, 1-2. Those who believe this 1998 version of the Atlanta Braves is the best version of the Atlanta Braves since this 7-in-a-row division clinching team has started its run, point to the addition of Galarraga as the main reason, as a right-handed power bat in the middle of this lineup.
Well, the Braves were always so susceptible to left-handed pitching, and to a certain extent they still are. But with Andres Galarraga anchoring that number 4 spot in the lineup, they handle left-handed pitchers much better now than they did in the past.
That just missed down and in to Galarraga. And the count's full to Andres leading off the 7th.
Just misses the inside corner there.
And now the 3-2. A breaking ball to strike him out, and Galarraga's 0 for 3.
The pitch that Andy Ashby finished Galarraga off with, as he just misses with the first pitch. Then the slider puts him in the hole. The worst pitch in this sequence is the last pitch. That's a hanger that he got away with.
And now with one out, nobody on, Klesko digs in and comes up empty.
I think what made that pitch so effective is Ashby had used the slider on the outside corner, breaking away, and then threw the slider on the inside part of the plate, whether intentionally or accidentally. It just locked up Galarraga. He wasn't anticipating a breaking ball over the heart of the plate.
That's almost like a Michael Jackson, the great reliever of the Cleveland Indians. Inside slider to right-handers by design.
High bouncer to second on the second hop. Barris takes care of Klesko, 2 out.
By the way, Mike Jackson was credited with the save and that win over the Yankees tonight. 12-inning, 4-1 Cleveland win. Cleveland had 7 pitchers in that game, and the Yankees used 5.
Tonight we've seen a total of 2.
Yeah.
In this game 1 of this NLCS. Smoltz for Atlanta. Andy Ashby for San Diego. Two out, nobody on. October 1st, Cubs at Braves. Game 2 of the division series. Cubs leading 1-0 in the 9th inning. This shot off Javier Lopez's bat. Kevin Tapani tied the game. A game in which the Braves won in the 10th on a hit by Chipper Jones. Lopez into left center field, hanging up and trapped by Finley for a 2-out single. Great effort by Finley. And the second base umpire, Tom Hallion, was charging out there and gave the safe call as it bounced into the glove of the San Diego center fielder.
Well, with 2 out and nobody on, you can't make this play and turn it into a double. You've got to keep Lopez to a single, and look how Finley does it. Brilliant play after missing it in the air. Man.
You better knock it down.
Yeah, that's right.
You leave your feet on that play, as you said, Tim. That ball gets by that glove. It rolls all the way to the wall. Lopez doesn't have the greatest speed on the Braves, but perhaps even a triple on that play.
Yep.
So it's just a 2-out single for Javi Lopez. And the Braves need to string together some hits or get another pop from Andrew Jones, who homered in his first at-bat, leading off the 3rd. Dave Stewart back on that phone to the bullpen as Ashby tries to get through 7. Missing down and away with ball 1. Now Donnie Wall, the right-hander, joins Mark Langston out of the Padre bullpen. A strike from Ashby, 1-1 on Andrew Jones. Dave Stewart, who was 8-0 in LCS competition in his career, now the pitching coach in his first year. He's coming down from the front office for San Diego. Watching the 1-1 from Ashby miss outside, 2-1. Bobby Cox, who also came down from the front office in 1990 to resume duties on the field as the field manager. Winningest manager in this franchise's history. Two-out hit by Lopez and a 2-ball, 1-strike count on Andrew Jones. Pitch was up, 3-1. A dangerous pitch from Ashby.
That's another one of those breaking balls. I don't believe he's intentionally throwing it to the inside part of the plate. You can see Hernandez set up outside. That's a hanging slider right in the heart of the plate.
Now 3 balls and a strike. A check swing, grounder to first. Joyner goes the easy way to second to end the inning. Andy Ashby answering the call, getting the ball in game number 1. He is through 7 of a 1-1 game. To believe with this reaction by the Padre bench between innings that the night for Andy Ashby is finished. And if that's the case, what a job tonight in Game 1 from the veteran right-hander, 31 years old, and by far in his biggest start in his major league career. He keeps it a 1-1 game through 7, and now in the 8th inning, it's Ruben Rivera leading off. Took over for Vaughn back in the 5th inning, and this is his first at bat. 2-0 from Smoltz. Vaughn strained his left quadriceps muscle. Ruben Rivera, the cousin of Mariano Rivera, New York Yankee bullpen fame, leads off. And gets a base hit into left center field, and that ball's going to scoot toward the track. Rivera's got at least a double, and a hold there with a stand-up double to start the 8th inning.
Bob and I have been talking about Andrew Jones playing in the right center field. The one time you can't do it is when the pitcher falls behind in the count. You've got to play the count a little bit more, and with the count 2-0 to Rivera, he laces one into left center. Now, if Jones is straight away, I'm not too sure he's going to throw Rivera out at second base anyway, but he does have a much better chance. Jones with a great throwing arm.
Bobby Cox walks out to the mound. And this will officially become a battle of the bullpens from here on out. Smoltz is finished here in the 8th. The Padres a leadoff double. They've knocked out John Smoltz in a 1-1 game here in the 8th. Well, back here in Atlanta, the pitching change. John Rocker enters for the Atlanta Braves. Hitting coach Merv Rettenman for the San Diego Padres had this to say to Ken Caminiti.
Hey, he's going to throw it. You're going to stand there. He's going to throw a fastball right there. You're just going to hit it right back at him somewhere. Hard. Real swing.
So much for the mechanics of hitting. Go up there, see that fastball, and hit it hard.
I think Merv also reminded Kenny not to try to move the runner over. You're an RBI man. Drive him in. Don't drive him over.
Here's the first from Rocker, who throws hard, and that's into right center field. Slicing away from Jones. Tagging and trying to advance is Rivera. He is safe at third with only one away.
It looked to me like Greg Bonet was surprised that there was a play at third base. He was not in position to call this ball. Andrew Jones with 20 assists on the year. He's got a gun. But it did look like that Rivera was in there. He came off the bag. Had Chipper Jones stayed with the tag, he would have been out. Watch Jones come up. He's trying to show Bonet the tag. Had he stayed with the tag, he gets him.
Tried to put that good, quick slap tag on and once again sell the play to the umpire. You're absolutely right, Tim. If he holds that tag on the runner, Rivera came right off the bag.
Bobby Cox upset as he went out to talk to Rocker. He's going to leave Rocker in with the announcement that Jim Leyritz is the pinch hitter for Wally Joyner.
Very rarely these days do you see a center fielder that possesses this kind of throwing arm. Spins around with his back to the bag. A two-hopper right on the money to Chipper Jones. There's the sweep tag. Tim Flannery helping out third base umpire Greg Bonet there with the call.
So now as they announce Leyritz, Bobby Cox, who went out to argue, then glared at third base umpire Greg Bonet, walked away, came back. Leyritz will be the hitter. The Braves make their second pitching change here in the 8th.
Once again, Bob, you're talking about that pivot by Andrew Jones and a strong throw. But the key here, Chipper Jones did not stay with the tag. Understandably, he's trying to show the tag to Greg Bonet, who's up the third baseline. Chipper looking for him. Had he stayed with the tag, Rivera slid off the bag, and he would have been out.
Get a closer look right here. You'll see Rivera's hand come into the picture on the bag right there. He's in ahead of the tag. Tag is applied to the left hip as Rivera slides by. And you can see he comes completely off the bag right there. At that point, Jones is showing the ball to the umpire, and Rivera then gets back on the base.
And now with a go-ahead run at third, Dennis Martinez, the 43-year-old right-hander, comes out of the Atlanta bullpen with Jim Leyritz digging in at the plate. Leyritz, the pinch hitter for Wally Joyner. And his postseason heroics, as they're going to appeal. And the safe call is given by Tom Hallion to check and see if Rivera left too soon on the fly ball hit by Caminiti. Leyritz with postseason heroics while with the New York Yankees and while with the San Diego Padres. He has had 36 career postseason at bats. He has hit 6 postseason home runs. Right now with the infield in, he's just trying to do something to bring the runner in from third. 1 out, ball 1. Game 2 against flame-throwing left-hander Billy Wagner. This down the line to tie the game in the 9th inning in Houston. Game eventually won by the Astros, the only game Houston would win. That caught the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike on Leyritz. A lot of the newspaper articles here in Atlanta. He's back. Leyritz, who hit that game-tying 3-run home run, the '96 World Series against the Yankees, with the Yankees against Atlanta, and you start to dissect, Bob, what this man has done in the postseason. It has been heroic.
It really has been. Some guys just have that ability to rise to the occasion, to take control of the situation and realize that the pressure is on the pitcher.
That caught the outside corner for Martinez. It's 2-2. This Atlanta bullpen tested here in game 1. Rocker got 1 out. And now the 2-2 from Dennis Martinez. A slow roller. Martinez looks the runner back, throws to first, out. The throw to the plate, safe. Rivera safe at the plate to put San Diego out in front 2-1. And now evidently Galarraga missed the first base bag altogether. Both runners are safe. Still only 1 out, and San Diego has taken its first lead of the night.
And Rivera calls both of them. What brilliant base running. He did not take off from third until Martinez threw to first. Here's the tap. Martinez looks him back, but not enough. Galarraga comes off the bag, and now the throw is wild, not only allowing Rivera to score, but Leyritz to get to second. Great base running by Rivera. Oh, boy.
Galarraga forced to rush his throw, come off the bag at first to try to cut down Rivera at home plate, and because of the rush throw, bounced it in the dirt. The Big Cat normally a very sure-handed, very steady defensive first baseman.
So just off the bag, we're waiting for a ruling. But wouldn't you know it, it's Leyritz who puts the bat on the ball that starts that to put San Diego out in front 2-1 here in the 8th inning. And we are in the period of any game in which San Diego is deadly with the lead.
Leyritz not only with a booming bat, but a magical bat, too. But just brilliant base running by Rivera. I would imagine it's a fielder's choice and an error on Galarraga, allowing Leyritz to go to second. Because a good throw by Martinez has him at first base. On the other hand, it could be 2 errors. Maybe 1 error for not touching first, and the other on the throw.
And it is 2 errors. First pitch is a ball outside. 2 errors on this play on the part of Galarraga.
You can see he was clearly off the bag there as he drug his foot to get into position to catch the ball, make the return throw to home plate, and that throw was errant.
It is an RBI, however, for Leyritz. And right now, he has the go-ahead RBI in what will surprise no one here in Atlanta or in Houston. But what is surprising is Galarraga making 2 errors on 1 play. And now with 2 on after the intentional pass to Finley, 1 ball, 1 strike on Carlos Hernandez. You can charge that run to the starter, Smoltz, who is now on the hook for the loss if his teammates don't come from behind. First and second, one out, and Hernandez gets a base hit into right field. They will hold Leyritz at third as Tucker comes up throwing, and the bases are loaded with only one out. We talked about a battle of the bullpens, and right now the Atlanta bullpen is not getting it done.
Nice piece of hitting once again by Carlos Hernandez. Take what the pitcher gives you. Fastball up and out over the plate. Very little lower body movement. Just flip that ball into right field.
This inning started on a leadoff double by Ruben Rivera, who wasn't even in the starting lineup. A fifth inning replacement for the injured Greg Vaughn. His first at bat, he doubles and scores the go-ahead run. Now the bases are loaded, one out. And Gomez takes the ball low and away. Gomez tonight 0 for 3.
We saw Walt Weiss squeeze earlier in the game. Even though the bases are loaded, a forced play at home plate. A squeeze not out of the question right here. Atlanta infield and double play depth.
That caught the corner. 1 ball, 1 strike for Martinez. Well, this is turning into a frightening situation for Atlanta. The Padres with a late inning lead in that good bullpen, and Kevin Brown, their other nemesis, starting against Atlanta here tomorrow night. Right now the Padres looking for more. Bases loaded, 1 out. And Gomez up on the count, 2 balls and a strike.
You can see Martinez following suit like the rest of the Braves pitching staff, working almost consistently on that outside corner.
Gomez to the shortstop, Weiss. The flip for the out, the throw to first, and a huge double play turned by Atlanta here in the 8th inning, but the Padres get the lead. The go-ahead RBI, Leyritz, 2-1, San Diego.
The National League Championship Series on Fox is brought to you by AT&T. It's all within your reach. And by Claritin.
Welcome back to Turner Field in Atlanta. Be sure to tune in tomorrow night for Game 2 of the NLCS. The Padres at the Braves. Coverage begins at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific here on Fox, your home of the 1998 World Series. And again, Kevin Brown against Tom Glavine. What a matchup. And then ALCS Game 3 as the playoffs continue on NBC Friday night. As that series shifts to Cleveland and Jacobs Field, 8 o'clock Eastern on NBC. Pettit against Cologne, Indians and Yankees with that series tied at 1 game apiece. And the folks here in Atlanta have to be wondering what else you're going to hit us with. Not only does Ashby pitch the game of his life in the major leagues to start this one, Leyritz enters the game as a pinch hitter, knocks home the go-ahead run. Kevin Brown is pitching tomorrow night, and the pitcher that the Braves tried to get after the trading deadline, Randy Myers, reportedly, who was claimed off waivers by the San Diego Padres. Bob comes in to pitch against Atlanta here with a 2-1 lead in the 8th inning.
Yeah, Myers, one of the 2 left-handers that Bruce Bochy has in the bullpen, along with Mark Langston. Good hard fastball, good split finger, good changeup. Has not been as effective since coming over to San Diego. The ERA of over 6. He's given up 15 base hits in 14 1/3 innings with the Padres, including a couple of home runs.
Randy Myers did not appear in the division series. Last year starred with Baltimore as a free agent, inked a deal with Toronto. And as I mentioned, Kevin Powers, the general manager of San Diego, blocked the trade between Toronto and Atlanta for this very reason, with an eye on Atlanta in the postseason.
To have Randy Myers pitching for San Diego instead of the Braves.
Gerald Williams leading it off as a pinch hitter is quickly in the hole, 0-2. Williams batting for Tucker. Gerald Williams, a right-handed batter, takes the place of the lefty, and a look at John Sherholtz, who tried to get Myers after the trading deadline reportedly. And the San Diego Padres took on the expense of a large contract, a large multi-year contract, to keep him away from Atlanta. The 0-2 to Gerald Williams. 1-2.
Now you could take that multi-year contract and pay a couple of months of it, and then trade Randy Myers after the season if you deem so, because you've still got Trevor Hoffman as your #1 bullpenner.
Williams strikes out on a changeup to start the bottom of the 8th inning as rain starts to fall again here at Turner Field.
Change up on the outside corner, and look at Hernandez setting up low and away, and that's where the ball was.
Randy Myers has come a long way since his days as one of the nasty boys with the Cincinnati Reds. Basically a 2-pitch pitcher then, really a 1-pitch pitcher, an overpowering fastball, a little wrinkle of a slider. He's really learned how to change speeds and work both sides of the plate as his career has progressed.
So you've got Randy Myers, who is some discussion with Carlos Hernandez, the catcher of San Diego.
He may be having some equipment problems. He's got his mask off, and it looks like they're going to bring him out another one. And many times it's just a strap that works its way loose during the course of the ball game, and they'll work on it over there on the bench, get it ready to go again.
Greg Colbrin is off the bench for Atlanta. Second pinch hitter in a row. 1 out, nobody on here in the 8th inning. So Martinez is finished for the rest of the night. We've seen Curtis Pride with a horseshoe, and now he's gone to the rally cap with a hat turned backwards.
Got a 4-leaf clover in his pocket, too.
The 0-1 pitch. Colbrin into center field off the end of the bat for a 1-out single. And the tying run is on for Atlanta here in the 8th. Not only do we see a pinch hitter Williams followed by a pinch hitter Colbrin, now we'll have a pinch hitter making a pitch runner for Colbrin after this single to center.
Greg Colbrin has always been a good hitter. Looking away, change up away, hits it back to center field. And Marty Malloy will be the pinch runner for Colbrin.
So Malloy carries the tying run in his pocket at first with 1 out. And Randy Myers works to Walt Weiss. And misses high with a fastball.
You notice everything has been away, away, away from Randy Myers, and he will not change that pattern. If you're a right-handed batter, that's where the Braves right-handers should look, and that's away.
1 ball, 1 strike to Weiss, who's 0 for 3.
Malloy, with better than average speed over at first base, has had a couple of seasons in the minor leagues near 20 stolen bases. Myers with the quick delivery to home plate, however, a slide step, very tough to get a jump on him.
And a check on Malloy. So Leyritz, who came to the plate as a pinch hitter, stays in the game and plays first base for Joyner. The foul off the front foot by Weiss to put Walt in the hole. 1-2. You talk about a big 3 for Bruce Bochy. Randy Myers, who a year ago saved 45 for Baltimore. Trevor Hoffman anchoring that bullpen, who saved 53 and 54 opportunities, along with Dan Maselli, who was great in the division series. Why this San Diego bullpen comes into this series a notch above Atlanta's.
A key pitch in the sequence was the last one, getting ahead of Walt Weiss 1-2. Had the count gone to 2-1, perhaps Bobby Cox would have elected to get the runner in motion, allow Walt Weiss an opportunity to try to shoot one of the holes in the infield. In the hole 1-2, that's not going to happen.
Some of the best ways to thwart the hit and run often is to stay ahead of the hitter.
Myers is ahead on the count to Weiss, 1-2. Myers misses the outside corner. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The rain picks up just a little here in the 8th inning. Tying run at first with 1 out. Another check on Malloy. Fans are saying, look, we waited through a 2-hour rain delay. It's raining again. Throw the ball to the plate. Myers could care less.
Well, Myers does not have a good move to first base, but he's throwing over there in the event that Malloy's going on first movement. Many times that's what a base runner will do, especially an inexperienced, a younger base runner, not experienced at reading pitchers' moves. They'll take their lead and just go on the first movement.
Got him over the outside corner. 2 gone. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Randy Myers. And we will see the 4th man off the bench for Bobby Cox, Graffinino, after this strikeout.
Backdoor slider right there. Wise thought it was outside. That's what that slider does. It's what it's designed to do. Watch the spin on it. See that tight spin? Backdoor really a misnomer. It's a side door slider is what it is. Comes in on the veranda.
As Graffinino is announced as the pinch hitter, the 4th man off the bench this inning for Bobby Cox. Maselli will stomp in out of the bullpen for San Diego. He will try to keep the lead here in the 8th inning. Myers goes 2/3 in game 1. Dan Maselli takes over here in the 8th inning with 1 on and 2 out. And the numbers for Maselli went by largely unnoticed by everyone but the San Diego Padres this season.
10-game winner out of the bullpen, almost a strikeout per inning. He came in and pitched an inning and 2/3 of relief in the clinching game in the division series. Struck out a couple of batters, did not allow a hit, a walk, or a run.
Bobby Cox using everything in his holster. Danny Batista, Eddie Perez, the only 2 right-handed hitters left. Only 2 hitters, period, left.
That's the case because Ozzie Guillen, after Graffinino was announced, will bat. The left-handed swinging middle infielder against Maselli with 1 on, 2 out here in the 8th. 2-1 San Diego. And he lines a base hit into center. Malloy will take the turn and slide to a stop to put 2 on with 2 out here in the 8th. And the veteran Guillen comes through for Atlanta.
I think Marty Malloy's turn at second base in the slide was intentional because he realized that there were 2 outs. He had third base on his mind. Check him out. Screech. Not with 2 outs.
And now with Chipper Jones coming up.
Right.
And here comes Bruce Bochy. As these 2 managers are managing here in the 8th inning.
This is almost like the last minute and a half of a basketball game, this last inning.
Another timeout. The Padres, I think, are left with only 1 22nd timeout. As we see the 3rd pitcher of the inning for San Diego. I would guess Hoffman, but you're always in trouble when you guess. Chipper Jones coming up for Atlanta. Well, the San Diego Padres carried a 2-1 lead into the bottom of this 8th inning. And the Atlanta Braves have 2 hits, 2 strikeouts to their credit, a double switch. As Andy Sheets takes over at shortstop, he will lead off in the top of the 9th inning. And now pitching and batting 8th in the spot vacated by Gomez, Trevor Hoffman.
And the reason for the double switch, first of all, is that the pitcher spot leads off in the top of the 9th inning. And Bruce Bochy trying to get the pitcher as far away from the leadoff hitter as he can, and he did. The pitcher batting 9th with Chris Gomez leading the game. And the one thing you want to keep in mind, you can make the double switch late in the game, but you don't want to weaken your defense in the process and Bruce doesn't feel like he's weakened it with Andy Sheets at short.
Saw the numbers on Hoffman for the season. In his last 32 appearances, he has been just darn near unhittable. Went 1-1 with 29 saves and an .076 ERA over the last 32 appearances of the season.
And you look at Trevor Hoffman and where he stacks up. This might surprise some people. More than Wetland, more than Beck, who had 51 saves this year for the Cubs, more than Myers and more than Nen. He's converted 80 of his last 82 save opportunities, and he pitches here with 2 on, 2 out, and he faces Chipper Jones. Back at Malloy, the tying run at second.
That is a weakness in Trevor Hoffman's game. The high leg kick makes him very susceptible to the stolen base.
But what you would think, no designs on running here whatsoever as Jones takes it in the dirt, ball 1.
Very low percentage play at this point with Chipper Jones at the plate. The tying run's already in scoring position, but something to keep an eye on throughout this series.
Chipper Jones during the regular season hit 34 home runs. 32 of those 34 came while batting left-handed, as he is here against Hoffman. Another look back at Marty Malloy. Two to 1 San Diego in the bottom of the 8th. 2 on, 2 out for Atlanta. Chipper Jones way out in front of a 76-mile-per-hour changeup.
It's that high leg kick that makes the changeup so much more effective. What you see, you don't get.
The arm comes through with the same speed that he uses on his fastball. The pitch is about 20 miles an hour slower.
Inside corner for strike 2 on Jones.
Another changeup from Hoffman. This one starts just off the plate inside, tails back over the inside corner. Has Chipper in the hole at 1-2.
A little fly ball into center for Finley. He is there. The Braves leave 2, and they've stranded 5. Keep this in mind. The San Diego Padres this season, including the postseason, 88-0 when leading after 8. Into the 9th, 2 to 1 San Diego.
Look at the grip on the changeup by Trevor Hoffman. You can see he chokes the ball back in his palm. His index and middle finger were actually off of the baseball. No way you can throw the ball with that grip as hard as you can throw your regular fastball.
And now against Kerry Lightenberg, the 4th pitcher of the night for Atlanta. Andy Sheets leads it off and fouls it away. And after the out, recorded in center field on the catch by Finley, the reaction by Vaughn in the foreground, and in the background, Andy Ashby. What an effort tonight. 7 innings, 1 run on 5 hits. Sheets grounds to third. Chipper Jones to throw across, 1 away. Gerald Williams stays in the game. He's now out in right field. Marty Malloy stays in the game, and again he's batting 9th. He's at second base as Bobby Cox just about emptied his bench in the bottom of the 8th. The numbers for Kerry Lightenberg, who saved 30 as a rookie. First guy to save 30 or more since Todd Worrell did it for the Cardinals back in 1986. Silvio Veras takes a strike over the outside corner.
I think this is important for Bobby Cox to get Lightenberg into this game. Even though this is not a save situation, so much has been made about his inexperience in postseason crucial situations. Get Lightenberg in a non-save situation, his team trailing by a run, let him go out there, get his feet wet, get comfortable on the mound in a pressure situation.
And get a little comfortable before he goes out to San Diego and faces 65,000 rabid Padre fans that you had a chance to see last weekend, Bob.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
One out, nobody on. The 0-2 to Barris. Got him over the outside corner. 2 gone. Braves postseason nightmares. Brown last year 2-0 in the NLCS as the Florida Marlins went past the Braves and on to the World Series in a victory over Cleveland. And Jim Leyritz, what he did while with New York in 1996 in the World Series. Game 4, the 3-run home run to tie it in the 8th. Instead of Atlanta taking a 3-games-to-1 advantage, it was 2-2. And you know the rest. The Yankees went on to win it. Kevin Brown pitches tomorrow night for San Diego. 2 out, nobody on, and Gwynn takes strike 2. Nothing but strikes from Lightenberg.
Only Tony Gwynn can be comfortable with 2 strikes. .358 batter last year with 2 strikes on him. Remarkable.
One and 2. The end of tonight's game. Bob, Tim, and I will select the Chevy Truck Player of the Game. Wynn is certainly in the running for that. 2 out of 4 with an RBI hit with 2 out back in the 5th inning, which tied this game. Wynn spoils that pitch over the outside part by Lightenberg.
That's what good hitters are able to do in a 2-strike count. Foul off the tough pitcher's pitches. Force him to throw one more pitch. Perhaps that'll be the one. Lightenberg makes a mistake. Gets the ball over the plate for Tony Gwynn to hit.
Galarraga will lead it off in the bottom of the 9th. Wynn grounds to Andres, who will step on for the final out. The top of the 9th inning, and Lightenberg has a perfect night. Galarraga, Klesko, Lopez coming up against Trevor Hoffman. 2-1, San Diego. To the bottom of the 9th inning. The Braves their final chance down 2-1. Some kids hanging in there at the ballpark tonight. And we thank you who have hung in there with us, at least in the Eastern time zone, until the wee small hours of the morning. Heck, it's midnight in the Central time zone. And as these kids watch here in Atlanta, bottom of the 9th inning, the Braves with their final at-bat of the night. And they will take on Trevor Hoffman, trailing 2-1.
And in this game, past 1 o'clock, you might figure that a late break from third is the difference in the Padres winning right now. Ruben Rivera's late break from first base, the difference in, or from third base, the difference in this ball game.
His only at bat of the night, Rivera led off with a double. Moved to third, aggressive base running on a ball hit to Andrew Jones, and then scored on the ground ball back to the pitcher. And the throw to first as Galarraga takes a strike to start the bottom of the 9th inning. Galarraga more than capable of tying this game. He hit 44 home runs during the regular season. Quickly in the hole, 0-2.
First fastball of the night for Hoffman. That's the amazing thing about Hoffman. Most right-handers who throw changeups don't throw them to right-handed batters, but Hoffman does.
Galarraga on 0-2. Here's one bounce in there, 1-2. If you include the postseason, over the past couple of years and then some, the Padres 177 consecutive victories when leading after 8. Andy Ashby went the first 7. The 1-2 to Galarraga is hammered foul. That is twice tonight that Galarraga has pulled the ball down the line. And instead of a double, it's been, well, the first time, strike 1. This time, it keeps the count at 1-2.
Off-speed pitch on the inside part of the plate. You can see he's out in front. That's why the ball hooks so much down the left field line.
And now the 1-2 is fouled away again.
Boy, Hoffman just presents so many problems for a hitter. He's got the fastball in the low 90s that he can spot on either side of the plate. Good sharp breaking ball that he'll use on the right-handers, and we've seen that devastating changeup. Can't sit on one pitch against this guy.
Just missing the inside corner, 2-2.
Doesn't miss by very much. 91-mile-an-hour fastball at the belt. You can see Hernandez trying to pull it back onto the corner.
Now the 2-2. Galarraga hits it just foul again.
Caminetti nearer the line than he was early in the count. When the third baseman plays that close to the line, what he's saying in essence is no doubles.
Again, the 2-2 pitch to Galarraga. Wouldn't chase it. Full count, 3-2.
This is a great at-bat by Galarraga right now.
Klesko on deck. And then Lopez. And then Andrew Jones, if anybody gets on. All home run threats. The 3-2 struck him out, one away to start the bottom of the ninth.
You're subjected to that straight change. When you do get a fastball, doesn't look like it's 90 miles an hour, but 190 miles an hour.
Hoffman, a great combination, a pitcher that can finesse you if he has to, can rear back and blow you away if he has to.
Now Ryan Klesko out in front. 77-mile-per-hour pitch and the change after the 91-mile-per-hour fastball blown past Galarraga. One ball, one strike. The 3, 4, and 5 hitters tonight for the Braves, a combined 0 for 11.
What Hoffman could do, probably better than any pitcher in baseball, is get the hitter to work like a pendulum. And always the pendulum is swinging the wrong way for the hitter. When he's going forward, it's a fastball. When he stays back, it's a changeup.
And now the 2-1. On the outside corner, 2-2. Klesko 0 for 3 tonight. 3 out of 14 in this postseason. And a full count on Klesko. Three balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, nobody on. 2-1 Padres in the ninth. Low for ball 4. And Klesko is on for the first time tonight.
Well, you would anticipate that Danny Bautista would come on as a pinch runner for Ryan Klesko. Klesko a good at bat in his own right, working the count, laying off some tough changeups down in the dirt. Gets a real good look. You can see him staring that ball all the way in to the catcher's mitt.
I know what you're saying, Bob. It's a very difficult situation for Bobby Cox because he has only 2 pinch hitters left, Eddie Perez and Danny Bautista. If Bautista comes into pinch run, then you've got to have Perez hit for the pitcher in a possible tie game with the 6th place hitter. Javi Lopez up now.
1 on, 1 out. Trevor Hoffman to Lopez. Strike 1. You've got Malloy batting in the number 9 spot. So maybe a fear of Malloy hitting in this 9th inning. In a game-winning situation. as Bobby Cox staying away from the pinch runner and keeping Bautista on the Atlanta bench. Right now, it's Hoffman against Lopez. And a base hit into left field. Here comes Atlanta. Klesko is taking the turn, heading to third. Safe there. The tying run 90 feet away.
And Klesko is hurt. You talk about adventurous base running on a scalded liner to left field, and Ryan Klesko going to third. He looks like he damaged that right hand of his in the head-first slide. It looked like it was wedged under the base.
Although I think the ball was missed by Caminiti, Tim, and may have struck him in the face.
Could have.
As you look at a bloodied nose of Ryan Klesko, who ran in the face of Ruben Rivera in left field.
As the play in front of him, he did not slow down. Full bore. No, I think he ran into Ken Caminiti.
That looked like it may have turned his helmet back and hit him in the face with the bill of the helmet. Caminiti is notorious for blocking third base like a catcher blocks home. You can see in his haste to get that knee down in front of the bag, he missed the ball. Caminiti with a similar play in Game 4 of the division series. The ball gets away. You see that helmet bounce back into Klesko's face as he slides into third. Caminiti with a similar play in the division series, blocked third base on Moises Alou and did not allow him into the bag.
Klesko not slowing down. A good strong arm by Rivera. Klesko taking a chance. Two brilliant base running plays in this game, one by Rivera and now by Klesko.
And here we are talking about a pinch runner in another circumstance. Well, in other circumstances, you probably would have seen one. And now, with Klesko going first to third, Bautista will come off the bench and run at first, representing the winning run and replacing Lopez on the bases.
Two things here. Bautista for the slow-footed Lopez on a double play ball hit to a middle infielder. Bautista fast enough to get down on top of either the shortstop or the second baseman.
So now Hoffman with first and third, one out. San Diego leading 2-1 in Game 1, facing Andrew Jones. Ball one up and in. Trevor Hoffman's only blown save this season came against Houston. Saved 53 of 54 opportunities, and the 1-0 pitch up and in, 2-0 on Jones.
Jones would have to hit a ball awfully hard to be doubled up. Not only a fast runner, but gets out of the box very quickly.
From Hoffman, who threatens to put Jones on and put the winning run in scoring position.
Jones did ground into 17 double plays during the course of the season, mostly because he takes that big swing, and many times when he pulls the ball, he isn't in good position to get out of the batter's box.
Swinging on 3-0, and he pounds it into center. This will tie the game as Brenly makes the catch. Klesko tags and scores, and it's 2-2 here in the ninth.
The Atlanta Braves eerily efficient. Everybody knows that, but they have not shown emotion in past postseasons like they've shown this year.
Now Bautista starts and stops. Throw behind him, and Danny gets back as it trickles out of the glove of Leyritz, who applied the late tag.
Bobby Cox, throughout his run here in Atlanta, has been notorious for turning his hitters loose on 3-0 counts. Andrew Jones gets the green light, got a pitch up in the zone. He could hit in the air and drove it deep enough into center to get home the tying run.
That pitch may have been ball 4. That's how high it was.
Now the 0-1 to Gerald Williams stays inside, 1-1. It's Williams up now. Gerald's second at bat, took over as a pinch hitter in the 8th inning and struck out. And it's Marty Malloy in the on-deck circle.
Marty Malloy will hit because Eddie Perez, for the most part, is already in the game because Lopez is out of the game. And he will replace Danny Batista going to that spot.
Williams out in front. Another changeup from Hoffman. It's 1-2. So against Galarraga, Klesko, and Javi Lopez, Trevor Hoffman blows what is in essence his second save of the season. As the 1-2 pitch is grounded to short, Sheets gets the force out at second base to end the inning. But the Braves come up with a run. A 1-out walk to Klesko. Good base running by Klesko. Great base running by Klesko. And the sac fly by Andrew Jones to tie it. Well, as we move to extra innings in game 1, a 2-2 score. 10th inning rolls around and we go down to the field and Chip Carey. Chip.
All right, Joe, thank you very much. The word from Braves assistant trainer Jeff Porter, that slide by Ryan Klesko, the ball did not hit him in the face. His right shoulder was banged up trying to slide into third base with Ken Caminiti meeting him at the bag. Obviously, he's okay. He's going to stay in the ball game, and boy, was he happy scoring that tie-and run at home plate to tie the game at 2. Back to you upstairs.
All right, Chip, thank you. Klesko with the terrific base running to get to third. How important was that? The fly ball to center, which was the second out of the inning, was a sac fly off the bat of Andrew Jones to score Klesko and tie this game in the 9th. And now Rivera leads off and pops it up. Behind the plate, Eddie Perez just into the game, watches it go out of play as Lightenberg starts his second inning of work.
Tell you the one thing to keep in mind right now, the Atlanta Braves are out of regular players. So Tommy Glavine, who is the starting pitcher later on this evening, that's right, later on this evening, could be called upon to pinch hit.
Yeah, if he's still here, Tim, then many times they send the next day's starting pitcher home early.
I was thinking the same thing, right.
They chart pitches perhaps the first 6 or 7 innings. They shower up and go on home to get a good night's rest before their start the next day. So we're not even sure if Tom Glavine is here at the ballpark at this point.
If Bobby Cox had his druthers, he may put out an emergency SOS and say, Tommy, get back here. We need your bat.
A ball and 2 strikes on Ruben Rivera. Lightenberg gets him, has faced 4 and retired 4. And that's the first out here in the 10th.
Good hard slider from Lightenberg, right on the outside corner. Moving away from the right-handed hitter. You can see Perez set up out there. Lightenberg hits the glove.
Rudy Cianez, the hard-throwing right-hander, and Odalis Perez, the lefty, getting ready for Atlanta as Caminiti takes the ball. One note to bring up, and I am as guilty of this as anybody else. While people talk about the lack of postseason experience for Lightenberg and the rest of his mates down in the bullpen, you almost have to say the same things for Trevor Hoffman. I mean, he was involved in '96 in the division series, but that's it. And he's working in his first league championship series, and he just blew the save in the 9th inning. 3-0 to Caminiti as that pitch barely missed from Lightenberg.
And you could bet Bruce Bochy will allow Caminiti to choose one right here. If he gets an inside fastball, look for him to turn on it.
Over the outside half for a strike, and it's 3-1.
You're right, Tim. You could tell by his approach he was ready to swing at the pitch if it was in his happy zone. That was a pitcher's pitch right on the outside corner.
Leyritz on deck, 1 out, nobody on, and Caminetti into center field. Andrew Jones back at the track at the wall. Caminetti to put the Padres on top, 3-2 in the 10th.
Barry Leitenberg found the outside part of the plate, but it wasn't the corner. And Caminetti makes him pay. Crushed this ball.
Looked like Caminetti was trying to blow that thing out of here, pumping up his cheeks as he ran down the first baseline,
saying, go, go, go.
Didn't need much help.
No.
The ball hit a long way to the opposite field from Caminetti. And now Leyritz, 1 out, nobody on, and he pops it off the end of the bat out of play for strike 2.
That was a good example of a disciplined power hitter. Laid off the 3-0 pitch when he obviously had the green light. Knew it was not a pitch that he could drive deep into the outfield. On the 3-1 count, he gets a pitch a little more over the plate, goes the opposite way.
And the 0-2 to Leyritz, too far outside.
Full extension from Ken Caminetti. Doesn't try to pull the pitch. He goes with it.
And now the 1-2. Leyritz fouls it away. So Caminetti, who hit 29 home runs during the regular season, gets his 4th in his career in the postseason. Not only his first home run of this postseason, but first RBI. Came in talking about a difference in these two bullpens, and in particular the two closers. Hoffman blew a save in the 9th inning, and Leitenberg was rolling until that 3-1 pitch to Caminetti. Leyritz with a good at bat.
And again, the pitcher spot due up 3rd in the bottom of the 10th, and Bobby Cox with no regular players left to hit.
A ball and 2 strikes. Leyritz takes it low, 2-2. Chip Carey reports off air that Bobby Cox has called on Tom Glavine, and Glavine is taking batting practice cuts in the cage as we speak.
How many times does a starting pitcher pinch hit and start a game in the same day in postseason?
A 2-hopper to second off the bat of Leyritz. Malloy takes care of it. 2 gone. And a good sign for the Braves as Leitenberg gives up the home run, then gets in a battle with Leyritz and ends up getting him on the ground ball to second as he bounces back. A disappointing home run, and now Finley with 2 out, nobody on, and 1 run in. That's why it was a little surprising to me, at least. It's easy to say now. It shocked me at the time with 2 out, nobody on, that Bobby Cox did pinch run for Javi Lopez in the 9th inning because of the shortened bench and because of Malloy's presence and then the pitcher's presence in the 10th inning.
That's certainly a valid point. I think Bobby was giving himself every chance to at least tie the ball game. And that play at second base, Batista was going to get down on the second baseman or shortstop a lot quicker than Javi Lopez. That had to be Bobby's thinking.
Strike 2 on Finley. But now the Braves are looking down by at least a run in the bottom of this 10th inning. And an inning which will feature Malloy, Weiss, and Glavine maybe as the pinch hitter. 2-2 on Finley. Two out, nobody on, and the 2-2 pitch. Finley fouls it away. Because of those 3 hitters coming up, It's also going to be interesting to see if they run Hoffman out there. He's pitched in the last 2 innings. Will he go back out for a third as Finley gets a base hit into right center field and Jones over to cut it off. Finley has a 2-out single to keep this top of the 10th inning alive. That'll bring in Carlos Hernandez.
That's Finley's first hit in the ball game. It's good for Bruce Bochy to get him off the snide. Finley's going to be an important part of this Padres offense throughout this series.
Well, right now with Hernandez up, Vanderwall is in the on-deck circle. In case Hernandez extends the inning, and again with Kevin Brown pitching tomorrow night, and with Malloy, Weiss, and a pinch hitter needed for the Atlanta Braves in the bottom of this inning, they may not want to run Hoffman out there for the bottom of this 10th. Ball 1 up and into Hernandez.
Well, it's interesting also, if Steve Finley tries to steal second and makes it, Bobby Cox may elect to walk Carlos Hernandez and bring the left-hander, Odalis Perez, in to pitch to Vanderwall. And that way you're sure to getting Hoffman out of the game.
There goes Finley. The throw by Perez. Not in time, and we'll find out right here. So now what do you do? Do you walk Hernandez? Take your chances with Odalis Perez against Vanderwall, assuring yourself of seeing someone other than Hoffman in the bottom of the 10th? Evidently not. 1 ball, 1 strike. Finley at second now with 2 out, and Hernandez loses the bat and fouls it back and out of play. 1-2. And that bat came back and was dangerous past Vanderwall and into the seats. Well, those are dangerous seats. The higher end district in these ballparks, they put seats closer and closer to home plate, and you run the risk of something like this severely injuring someone. Here's the 1-2. Hernandez stays alive. Struck that lady seated next to Katie Feeney down behind the Padre on deck circle. Runner at second, 2 out. Hernandez trying to knock in an insurance run for the Padres here in the 10th. To the right side for Galarraga. And that'll end the inning. An inning which featured an opposite field home run by Ken Caminiti. A 3-1 pitch from Lightenberg, and that to put San Diego back out in front. Bottom of the 10th, back after this from your local Fox station. That neon has been glowing all night. Even during the 2-hour rain delay, she was doing that. Some people are just a little worn out and loopy at this point of the night.
The perfect word. Perfect.
It has been a long night here on Fox, and we thank those of you for sticking with us. Believe it or not, in some parts of the world, local news will follow this telecast. So after a night of baseball, great game 2 of the ALCS, and what a game 1 for the NLCS. Don't lead me down this path now, people.
Will it be the loopy local news?
It could be. You never know. That's more like it with most of the fans here at Turner Field. Uh-oh. Might as well just leave that stuff on for tomorrow night, or tonight, however you want to look at it. But you can check out the news of the world after this in some markets with local news coming up right now. Marty Malloy, of all people, starts the bottom of the 10th inning for the Atlanta Braves. During the regular season, hit 1 home run. It's 3-2 San Diego, and it is Trevor Hoffman back to work. Not his 3rd full inning, but his 3rd inning overall since taking over back in the 8th. Malloy's first postseason at bat, and he faces Trevor Hoffman in game 1 in the 10th inning. The count 1-1. Malloy pops it up behind the plate. Hernandez gives it a look. It's out of play for strike 2. And again, as you mentioned, Bob, the only reason Marty Malloy is active for the postseason is because of the bad legs. The right hamstring of Keith Lockhart and the left quad of Walt Weiss. Otherwise, it'd be Curtis Pride, an extra outfielder, who was a more accomplished hitter in the big leagues than Malloy. The insurance policy is leading off the bottom of the 10th. And out in front as he strikes out. The throw down to first by Hernandez. Give you a good idea of his talent behind the plate. 1 away, as Hernandez didn't let up to fire it down to Layrich for the first out. Second strikeout for Hoffman. And as Weiss walks to the plate, Tom Glavine steps into the on-deck circle.
Glavine by no means an easy out. Swings the bat very well for a pitcher, but obviously Bobby Cox wishes he had one more bullet on his roster rather than go to one of his starting pitchers.
1 out, nobody on, and Weiss takes a strike. Hoffman didn't make connection on the throwback by Hernandez. Just to go back in the 8th inning, Gerald Williams came off the bench. Ray Colbrin came off the bench. Malloy came off the bench. Graffinino, Guillen came off the bench. All of that in the 8th inning for the Braves, and they're paying the price for that here in the 10th. Malloy the first out. Weiss with 1 out, nobody on, facing Hoffman. And in the hole and a blink, 0-2. There is Glavine on deck. In the Eastern time zone, and now the Central time zone, tonight's starting pitcher. The 0-2 to Weiss. The changeup from Hoffman, 1-2.
Wishful thinking on the part of Chipper Jones. He's the hitter in the hole would follow Tom Glavine should Weiss or Glavine reach base.
Weiss into the right field corner. That ball is foul. Just foul by inches. Galarraga's missed 3 times, and now Weiss misses down the right field line.
Again, you see that ball hooking? Not a lot, but just enough for the San Diego Padres, as it lands about a foot foul down the right field line. That was definitely going to be extra bases had it landed in fair territory.
Still 1-2 on Walt Weiss with 1 out, nobody on in the 10th. Struck him out, 2 away. Back-to-back strikeouts to start the 10th inning for Trevor Hoffman. And it is now going to be up to Tom Glavine to extend this inning and game for Chipper Jones.
We understand that the last pitcher to pinch hit in postseason play was Lance Painter for the Colorado Rockies back in 1995 against the Atlanta Braves in the divisional series.
Glavine takes a ball. Over the outside corner, 1-1. In case you're wondering, Glavine this season 17 out of 71, 7 RBIs, no home runs. He hit .239. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 out, nobody on. Hoffman trying to wrap it up. Glavine takes low, 2-1. In Glavine's career, he has hit 1 home run and driven in 58. And is a lifetime .205 hitter. 2 out, nobody on, and now it's 3-1 on Glavine, and now it gets more interesting with Chipper Jones on deck.
I think you got to take here.
Good hitters count. I agree with you, Tim. I think you got to let Tom Glavine take a pitch here. You just need him to get on base somehow ahead of Chipper Jones.
He is taking, and it's a 2-out walk.
How about that? I mean, that's unbelievable.
Second walk handed out by Hoffman. The first one hurt him. And now with Chipper Jones walking to the plate and nobody left on the Atlanta bench, Bruce Bochy is going to go to the bullpen. Second walk of the night for Hoffman is the end of his night. And you would have to believe a left-hander is going to pop out of that bullpen. It looked like Langston to turn Chipper Jones around and make him bat right-handed. Chipper Jones hit only 2 home runs this season while batting right-handed. It'll be Jones at the plate when we come back. Well, here in the bottom of the 10th inning, we just went to break. And I said you would think a left-hander, it was Langston loosening in the bullpen for San Diego, you would think the left-hander would come out of the bullpen to turn Chipper Jones around and make him bat right-handed. Instead, it's another right-hander, and it's Donnie Wall.
Well, this really catches me by surprise. I assumed it would be Langston to turn Jones around, and then if necessary, bring in Wall to face the right-hand hitting Galarraga in the on-deck circle. You would think if you were going to bring a right-hander in the game, you would leave Hoffman in there.
That's the reason only 2 right-handed home runs hit during the regular season by Chipper Jones, 2 of his 34.
I could not agree with both of you anymore. It's got to be a pitch count with Trevor Hoffman, and thinking 7 games or a long series instead of winning this one at the expense of using Hoffman against Jones.
Hoffman threw 43 pitches for the record. And as we mentioned, coming into the bottom of the 10th inning, it might be an option to start the 10th. The 2-out walk extends it, and now it's 2-1 on Chipper Jones.
Meanwhile, Chipper Jones looking for something to jerk in the outfield, very, very deep. Protecting against the extra base hit.
3-1 with Galarraga next. Donnie Wall with only 1 save during the regular season this year and only 1 in his major league career. 3-1, and now a walk to Chipper Jones after the walk to Glavine. And the batter will be Galarraga with 2 on, 2 out with the Braves down by a run in the 10th.
Well, Wall has been equally effective against left-handers and right-handers this year, holding the lefties to a 204 average, right-handers hitting only 200. Still a very surprising move.
Now 2 on, 2 out for Galarraga. 0 for 4 tonight. And he pops it into center field. Finley back near the track. Game 1 to San Diego. Trevor Hoffman will get the victory. Kerry Lightenberg will suffer the loss. And Donnie Wall will pick up the save. So Bruce Bochy going the unconventional way, sticking with Jones batting left-handed at the plate, bringing in another right-hander, taking out his closer who saved 53 during the regular season, bringing in Donnie Wall, and the home run by Caminetti stands as the game winner, and he is our Chevy Truck player of the game.
Ken Caminetti with enough to put it out in the top of the 10th inning. Andres Galarraga with not enough to put it out in the bottom of the 10th.
And Galarraga, who drove in 121 runs during the regular season, is still looking for his first 1998 postseason RBI.
Go figure. I'll tell you what, this game had twists and turns, had a little bit of everything, a lot of strategy, a lot of time spent at the ballpark today.
And there is the final 3-2 San Diego, a final in 10 innings. All of this after a 2-hour rain delay at the start. Fox Sports coverage of the National League Championship Series continues with Game 2 tomorrow night, tonight at 8 Eastern. For Tim McCarver, Bob Brenly, Steve Lyons, and Chip Carey, I'm Joe Buck from Turner Field in Atlanta. A stunned crowd, a tired crowd, a victorious San Diego team as they win it in 10 innings 3-2. And now the Atlanta Braves must face Kevin Brown, last year's LCS nemesis, while pitching for Florida tomorrow night in Game 2. He'll be opposed by Glavine. We'll have that game for you here on Fox. Good night from Atlanta.